Hey everyone, welcome to the Gamers Lounge podcast. My name is John Meadows. With me as always is Eric, Nathaniel, and wait a minute, Eric's not here.
Not Eric.
Here.
That's not
Robert,
Eric.
Nathaniel, and Matt. Good grief.
Either that or he's got a really, really convincing Halloween costume that
it could happen. I mean, why not, right? Sure. It could be a Halloween costume. I mean, who am I to judge?
He doesn't have a beer in his hand, though. That can't be Eric.
Let me tell you something. And I know Eric's going to listen to this podcast, and that's fine. But holy crap, him and that Ireland trip, jeez, I cannot imagine the amount of money that they have spent on alcohol. Which good for them. I mean, you know, hey, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you
gotta drink it before you come back.
Go for it. Yeah, I mean, go for it. I mean, you know, you don't know when you're going to be over there
way
again.
Better in Ireland.
So they say, but ever since, well, when they always said, you know, for the longest time, they actually strained the alcohol through like fish bladder. So I was like, no, I'm not.
Oh, I didn't know all that.
Oh yeah, they don't do that anymore. But it's only been like in maybe the past 10 or 15 years that they stopped doing that. So I'm like, no, I don't drink that anymore. That's kind of gross. I don't.
But did they switch over to a synthetic fish bladder? Because really, you need the experience, right? Like,
I guess I don't know.
They grow them in their own labs.
Synthetic fish bladder.
I mean, that could be the title of the show already, is thin synthetic fish bladder. But yeah, I don't know exactly. You know, I always heard that as a urban legend. You know, it's like, oh, they don't really do that. There's no, yeah, they really did. They really did that for like the longest time for some reason. I don't know why, but
it just strains really well.
Apparently it does. But I'm not. I don't know. I don't care for Guinness because
that's what I put my coffee through at home. So.
Well, it's kind of You
put it through Guinness?
Isn't Guinness kind of coffee-ish anyway? I always kind of and I think that's why I don't like it. I don't drink coffee, so it's kind of like I'm not a big. I'm more of a if I drink alcohol, I'm more of a Killian or a Samuel Adams guy. But
I'll take an old fashioned.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm at a ball game, I'll take a Bud Light because it's cheap and that's usually readily
better
available.
Than water.
Well,
it's a little better than water. Not
if
a
you're
whole.
At the ballpark, it's not cheap.
Well, no,
I'm ballpark. They cost the same as water.
Yeah, really. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you know. But yeah, I know. It's like I've been. Was it? One of the guys that follow us, King, it's always usually on Twitter and, you know, on the streams and stuff. He had tweeted, Eric had tweeted something about him being a level 16 tapper on that drinking app thing that he has on Twitter. King was like, wow, level 16. That's pretty impressive. Like, yeah, it must be. To get to level 16, you must have to do a whole lot of drinking to get there. I don't know
Something
anything
like
about
5,000 unique beers.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's hard to tell. But you know what? Yeah. Hey, you only live once, and you know, congratulations, you're in Ireland. Why not drink, you know, beer in Ireland? What else would you do in Ireland other than go to castles and museums and those kind of things? And
I mean, you know,
you're getting the
authentic. Not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting the authentic experience, though, right?
Well, yeah,
like,
you
gotta.
I don't want to come right out and stereotype a bunch of people, but I mean, I've watched enough Simpsons episodes to know that, you know.
No, there's nothing wrong with realizing that, though.
No.
It's like beer is an important part of a culture. And
well, yeah.
Without beer, all the sailors would have died trying to come across the ocean.
Well, you know, they drink wine in the Bible, so how can I, you know, why can I? I can't. Whatever. To each his own. I like Mountain Dew. So, you know. Whatever.
This conversation is going in so many different directions.
Yeah, I know, and I've kind of backed myself. I've backed myself in a corner, and I don't know how to get out of it. So,
speaking of Mountain Dew, video games.
Well, you guys didn't come here to listen about what we drink and don't drink.
Unless you try the new Mountain Dew.
That's usually how we start this show.
Unless you want to drink the new Mountain Dew Ice. So. No, you don't, and that would just be horrible if you did. I cannot imagine it being very very healthy.
They're not very liquid, so yeah, tough to drink.
Yeah.
But have you tried it through synthetic fish bladder?
Yes.
Not yet.
That was what I did very first thing because I thought it would really take out those toxins.
Really bring it out.
Yeah. You know. whatever. To each his own. You ever eat haggis? Anyway.
I don't think you can segue from that. So
there's
go
no
to
segues,
awkward silence.
Yeah, we'll just go to awkward silence for a few minutes, and then we'll go and talk about what we've been
For
playing.
a few minutes, ooh.
Yeah, for a few minutes, yeah.
That's a long silence.
That is a long silence. So.
Let me get my pillow and take a nap.
Yeah, really. So anyway, we're here to talk about video games, not about Ireland or drinking or beer or anything like that. Even though the conversation, Eric will have a whole lot to talk about when he comes back, I'm sure. So it sounds like he is having a good time though, and we hope he is anyway. I think this week he's in. I think last week was Ireland, and I think starting tomorrow he's in London or something like that for the week. So should be pretty cool. He should have a lot of cool stories, and they've went a whole lot of places. So safe travels to him, because I think it took them like 20 hours to get to Ireland, because he flew from like Seattle to DC, and then had a 3 or 4 hour layover in DC, and then flew from DC to Ireland. So it was like I got up and they were just landing in Ireland. I was like, holy crap.
Wait. Seattle.
Yeah.
Not East Coast. West Coast.
Yeah, that's where he lives. He lives in
Oh,
Seattle.
I thought he lived in the East Coast.
No.
I was like, why would you like...
No.
Just a quick layover in Seattle for some coffee. Like,
yeah.
He's the only one who doesn't live on the East Coast.
Yeah, he's the only one that does not live on the East Coast. That's usually why we're at 10 o'clock, because it's usually later, or earlier in the day or later in the evening for him, not late. So we try to accommodate him.
Well, if we tried to do it earlier, he wouldn't be there yet.
Yeah, if we did it earlier, he would. It'd be 5 o'clock there. So, but yeah, he's in Seattle. That's why. But
you can log it on mobile. It's fine.
Sure. Yeah, that's why they have Skype or Discord. So, on your phone.
Phones.
Fine. Or phones. Sure. Why not? Technology. You could be anywhere, anytime. So. But anyway, let's talk about what we've been playing.
I think that the title of this episode should just be Tangent.
Tangent, or Ramblings. Ramblings of a Madman.
But is it a synthetic tangent?
Yes.
Probably.
Ramblings of a synthetic fish bladder.
Totally synthetic. We're environmentally friendly here, and we go synthetic every chance we get, because that's the way it needs to be.
I think that's the opposite.
Is that the opposite? I don't know. I don't recycle, so we don't have a recycling thing here. So I don't know. I don't know of such things. So. But anyway, let's talk about video games. That's what we're here for. We're here to talk about video games. Yeah, we keep trying.
We'll
keep veering off on certain things. So. Robert, I want to hear about Mario Party, because I've heard mixed things about it.
I can tell you about an hour's worth of playtime about Mario Party.
Okay, well that's good. That's enough for me.
Let's start with your questions. What do you want to know about Mario Party?
Is Mario in it?
Mario is in fact in the game.
Is there a party?
Suck? Because I hear that it's not that great.
I have very limited experience with Mario Party.
Okay.
I'll preface with that. In my opinion, of the ones that I've played, it is the best since the ones on the 64.
Okay.
If that gives you a good idea.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with I played through a full game board on very hard with a friend in co-op mode. I didn't know there was a co-op mode, but there is, and it was really good. You can split up, go different ways. You can go the same way. There's lots of items. You can get helper people. I don't know if all these things are in previous Mario parties. I had a blast. I had a really, really good time with it.
It's been a long time since I have played a Mario Party game. I played a one or two on the GameCube. It was mostly on the N64. And it's been like almost 20 years, and I really don't remember a whole lot about. I remember mini games. That's all I remember. And I remember breaking control sticks because we were trying to do things so fast and not.
So everyone will roll, right? They have their role, and in this game, there's the normal die, and then each character has character-specific die, and you can switch between them. So your normal die is 1 through 6, and then your character-specific ones will have different combinations of different numbers. I was a Hammer Bro, and his die was a +3 coins was one option, and then 2 3s, and then a bunch of 4s. So all in all, pretty good die in my opinion. You can't get that high 6 or anything like that, but there really weren't any lows either, which is why I went with it. And of course, there's bonuses and things you can get throughout. If you do end up picking up extra people for your role, you can switch between their die, so then you have even more opportunities for different types of throws, and then they also roll on your turn as well, so you get bonus rolls out of it. And then after everybody rolls, then you do your mini game, and it'll randomly choose from a bunch of mini games, and you'll do that.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Mini games fun.
Object is still the same. Get coins so that you can get stars. Person with the most stars at the end wins. Yeah, mini games were a lot of fun. Some of them were really challenging. Some of them will just wear your arm out because you're shaking the sticks around all kinds of crazy directions, up and down, side to side.
Yeah.
Was that a question, Matt? Oh,
no, I was waving at chat.
Oh, okay.
But I did have a question. I did have a question.
Go, Matt, you.
So I also had a chance to play it this weekend. What did you think of the versus tiles?
We didn't land on any.
Okay. I thought they were horrible.
Tell me about them.
So basically you land on them and it says fill up the balloon, and then it just starts. There's no practice, there's no more instructions. You get like 3 words, and the person to do that the best wins, and they like usually steal a couple coins from people, or it's like everybody chips in money.
Objective time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's no real direction for it, and there's always a way to lose it. So they're like, fill up the balloon by pushing the button, and you're like, that's odd. Okay. And so then you're pushing the button to fill up the balloon, and all of a sudden one pops, and everyone else is like, oh. So then everyone else kind of panics. It's like, oh no, I can't do this.
Interesting. I kind of wish we had landed on them.
Yeah, there was another one that was press the button when vibration, or something like press the button when it vibrates, and you're like, what does that mean? And so we're all like, okay, push the. I think it vibrated. Push the button, and it turns out it's like some of the controllers would actually start vibrating, and it was a measure of time that went between when it vibrates and when you push the button.
Like a reaction time.
Yeah, the shortest reaction time wins.
I kind of dig that.
Yeah.
So
cool.
they're like micro games, I guess.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, we didn't end up landing on any of those.
Now, you said you played it on like very hard. What's the difference? What makes it harder? Just the mini games are harder?
The AI is better at the mini games.
Okay.
They work better as a team. It didn't affect the board any, to my knowledge.
Well, that's what I wondered.
There are random events that occur that something will come down and make it so that you can randomly land on a bad tile or a bad luck tile or something, and it will have a list of things that it'll go through until it lands on one, and whatever it is, you'll lose stars or you'll lose a coin, or if it's a really bad square, which you can unlock later on, then it's just even more so. It's just more random stuff to screw you over so that you hate your friends.
Okay.
Sounds like a good time.
If you don't quit Mario Party hating your friends, you're not playing it right.
Pretty much. I mean, that was always my opinion with Mario Party. We would usually, that was what was always nice about it is we could, we had we were all sitting on the same couch, so it was, it was immediately just start whacking them over here while they're trying to, do something, or so.
I have a bunch of friends who now have it. I don't own it myself, and I was asking them, oh, well, if I go buy it, can we play online together? And apparently the answer to that is no, you cannot. You can only play mini games together. So you can't play through the actual game board over the internet.
That's weird. I mean,
that seems opposite. Like,
makes no sense.
Oh, online doesn't work for mini games, so that's why we can't do it. But you can do that. Why not the whole game? That makes no sense
I don't understand that at all. I just assumed it was the whole game. You could play the whole game online. That kind of stinks. I don't like that. Then what's the point?
So now I have no reason to buy it. I'll just play it when I hang out with my friends.
Yeah, they're forcing it to be like what it's always been, and that you have to be in person playing it with other people versus, we don't want to introduce online because people might like it. Well, we want to keep it.
So they don't want to sell more copies.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. I'm not buying this game because I've never played a Mario Party and never really ever want to. It's just not something that appeals to me.
Well, if this was a few days ago or a few years ago when we had a lot of people over, we used to when I worked at Sprint, usually about once every 2 or 3 months, I'd have everybody that worked at the store over to the house, and we'd have a cookout, and we'd play Wii games and stuff like that. I would totally, get Mario Party and and have it here to play. But
100%.
we don't entertain much anymore. So, it's not that we don't want to or have friends to entertain. We just don't. Usually it's somewhere else. A lot of people have kids now, so we don't have kids, so we don't go to we go to birthday parties and things like that. Nobody comes over to hang out and have a few beers and play whatever. So, but I mean, it's okay. It happens.
Give the kids a few beers and you guys can play Mario Party.
Give the kids a few beers and put them to bed.
Yep, that's how it works. Yep.
Exactly.
I'm not a parent. Nobody yell at me.
Yeah,
but
I'm not either.
You want to yell at you.
Yeah, but I don't.
Have to be a parent to
I have
know
no desire to.
that.
Yeah, I have no desire to get the Mario Party game, but I know it is a popular game with a lot of people. It's just,
I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, well, when they said it was online, I was like, well, maybe I would, and if a bunch of people get it, then we can play the whole game online. But if it's just the mini games online, I don't really have an interest in that. I mean, I want to play the whole game, not just the mini games.
Yeah.
Even though if it did work online, it would still be imperfect because there's not good voice chat on Nintendo. That's just super easy. You have to do the stupid convoluted stuff to do it.
I don't even know if you really need voice chat for that game,
You don't
though. You're
need
just
it,
playing
but
a
that
board
makes
game.
it more fun because then you can yell at your friends when something crazy happens.
Sure.
That's part of the fun of doing it in person. But if you had that online, it would at least make that a little better. But
Well, yeah.
you don't even have that option, so it doesn't matter.
Like Rocket League, just add in the good goal or I hate you for stealing my star, and I hate you for stealing my coins, and I hate you for stealing my space.
There would be no good jobs. It
And
would just be
just,
all
"Hey,
I hate you for this.
Yes.
Just throwing a bunch of negative emote dances where Mario's really aggressive.
Yeah, really.
Angry the whole time. It's like, ah.
Fortnite dances in Mario Party. Oh gosh.
So would you buy it, Robert, to have your own copy, or would you just?
With all of my other friends who have Switches already owning it, probably not.
Yeah.
But if nobody else did, and I knew I would be seeing those friends, I might. I probably would.
Did you try any of the? They showed a lot of putting two Switches together.
I didn't do any of that, no, because I didn't have two people with copies of the game or
Gotcha.
anything.
Okay, I didn't know if maybe one of them, two others were over that had the game too or whatever.
No, it was just me and a buddy playing against the AI.
Gotcha. Okay.
I have a friend and his wife who own it, and they want to do a date night, and we'll hang out and do that. But even then, the game itself supports 4 Joy-Cons, so we can just do it all on the one system.
Yeah, it's just interested. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about how that interconnectivity works, where you lay them down and make bigger board. It's just kind of curious.
If you get 20, you can see the whole game board at once.
I would consider it, even if it went on sale or something, I might pick up my own copy. The minigames were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And if you get those helper characters, they actually affect your team in those minigames. For example, there's this one where in the 2-player one, you and your partner are in a canoe and you have to you're on one side, they're on the other. So when you're rowing your Joy-Con, you're rowing on your side of the boat, and when they're rowing theirs, so you have to do it in tandem to move forward, and then you have to steer around obstacles and get to the finish line. But if you have these helper people, for example, I had 4 helper people, but my friend didn't have any at the time. So he had 1 person on his side. I had 6 people on my side. So I overpowered him when it came to going straight. So I would have to start and stop while he's over there rowing away and going crazy. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I mean, and that's just it. I mean, it'd be fun if you had always had guys over. That would definitely be fun to play, which is cool since sounds like a lot of your friends have all that. So,
I mean, for nothing else, Mario Party is a game that you could do with people who don't play video games.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think don't think.
Oh, you know what? I'll probably buy it before Christmas because I'm going to be spending the entire day with Michelle's family. So I need something other than a puzzle to do.
Yeah.
So I might pick that up.
Well, you know, it may. Well, I don't know if it'd be on sale.
Probably not.
You know, most.
I'm sure I can get enough money to pick it up by then.
Well, yeah. I mean, but yeah, I was thinking, you know, Black Friday's coming up. You know, what games might be on sale and stuff.
Do Mario games typically go on sale?
I don't remember. I want to say no, but I could be wrong. I don't remember. I'd have to go. I'd actually have to like look up old sale ads for Black Friday. It's
possible, but it's certainly not one you would bank on.
No, I wouldn't surprise me. Maybe. You know, that's kind of what I'm waiting for with Assassin's Creed. I'm waiting to get it on Black Friday. I got Odyssey last year, or Origins last year on Black Friday for like $25. So it's like, if I can just hold out another, you know, month and a half, 2 months, however long it is to Thanksgiving, I'm sure I can get it for $30.
What month is this? October?
Yeah, we're about halfway through October. Yeah, I know. It's like I'm not exactly
like
sure.
76 days from Christmas or something.
Hey, my Christmas shopping was done a month ago. So
wow.
You know,
I haven't started.
Oh,
I don't really.
We don't buy Christmas presents for the adults in the family. We only since the niece has children and sister-in-law has children. We only buy for children. So we just happened to be up at Walmart one night, and they had this crazy clearance on toys. So it was just like, oh, we could buy this, and I think we got everything for like under $50.
So what you're saying is like Christmas morning, they start hearing this beeping, and then a dump truck just pulls up, and just like.
Pretty much.
Here's your toys.
Of all the stuff we bought for Christmas, we only paid full price for one toy, and that was just because my great nephew, when they came home last, he was infatuated with my Transformers, my original Transformers. He loved them, and he's 3 years old, so he's kind of in this mode where puzzles are very interesting to him. He's very puzzly, but the old Transformers are so complicated for a 3-year-old. I didn't know, but they make Transformers for 3 to 5-year-olds that are like two things and they transform, or they two things and they transform into a car or robot. So we got him like 6 or 7. It's like,
getting them hooked early.
Yeah. So you know. It's like, okay, and then, you know, that's what's nice about, we do it with Legos too. It's like, well, you can start out with the little kids Legos and then move up to the junior Legos and then move up to the real Legos. Same thing with the Transformers. They have these 3 to 5-year-old Transformers, and they have like 7 to 10, and then they have the older Transformers. So it's like, okay, well, we can get him started in these things and see which ones he likes the best and go from there. So, but yeah, I'm done with Christmas. So the only thing I got to buy for Christmas is whatever we're going to buy, you know, on Black Friday for ourselves. Yeah, you know, so I'm hoping Odyssey will be on sale for $25 to $30, and I'll buy it because I really want to play it.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things.
You'll see it for like 40, 45 or something, I think.
I don't know. With Origins
they usually don't discount games that much if they're brand new.
Well, they usually don't. But, well, they did last year with Origins. That's how much I paid for Origins was $25 on Black Friday. Yeah. So I'm hoping maybe they'll just do it again this year. But if not, I'll wait till day after Christmas and see if it's cheap then too. So I'm in no hurry since they say we're not bringing out another Assassin's Creed next year. So it's like, I don't have to play it right this minute.
Yeah.
I got time to wait.
You say that,
I still want to finish up Origin beforehand.
If you haven't played Origins, just go to Odyssey. Unless you just really like Origins. Egypt. Well, if you have, then that's another thing, because you're like, okay, I want to finish the story or do whatever. And that makes sense. But if you've not played it, then unless you really, really want to explore Egypt, and you can go ahead and play it for a while if you really want to. But Odyssey is better.
So is it like a soft reboot, like story-wise, or is it still continuing the story, just the gameplay styles have changed from the recent 2?
Sort of both-ish. It still exists in the same universe as all the rest of them. And in Odyssey, there's even like a couple little winking and nods to like, hey, this old game exists. We're referencing Syndicate here at this line of dialogue. But honestly, it was definitely with Origins meant to be like, hey, here's a new game you can pick up. never played any of the Assassin's Creed games.
That's usually the way most of them are, except for
and most of them are so isolated anyway. For the most part, you could pick up any Assassin's Creed game and have fun with it.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't pick up any of the other stuff that's connected to some of the other games, which some of the Assassin's Creed games have more of that, some of them have less of that.
Right.
It all depends.
Right. I was going to say, really, the only ones that were kind of intertwined were 2, Brotherhood, and was it Revelation?
All of them, all the way up through 3.
Yeah.
Those were all the ones that had the Desmond in the current times.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's kind of like, well, we'll just kind of do some sort of stuff to keep it with that weird sci-fi aesthetic. Well, I have a modern section, but it'll just barely be there. That's kind of what they've done since then.
Well, and that's kind of what I like. Not I like more of the the historical stuff than the future stuff. Anyway, it was like when it went into that, it was just like, let me just get through this as quick as I can so I can get back into whatever, I
mean, I like all that stuff because it's part of what makes Assassin's Creed rather than just, hey, it's another history game. It's sort of, even if it's very loose, ties them all together a little bit.
Right. So go ahead, since we're talking about Assassin's Creed. You said you've played it for like 25
Odyssey,
hours.
I've played already half of the time I've played of Origins, which is 50 hours, so that's nothing joke. So I've played Odyssey for 24 now. I, was still playing right as we were starting up here for the podcast. I was like, I gotta finish this mission. But yeah, it's really, really good. It's got a lot of similar things, well, at least on the surface on paper, to Origins. It looks like, oh, I remember that from Origins. But it's actually a lot different feeling and just a lot different playing because of the combat being different. So with Origins, it was all these like, hey, you have all these different weapons, which you still have that, but you also had your shield, which you do not have a shield in this game. Some of the enemies have shields, but you don't. In place of that, you have all these different special abilities, and it makes it combat a whole lot more fun for like a longer period of time because there's just more options of things to do rather than like, oh, I'm just getting in a fight with guys again. It was fun in Origins, but after a while, it's just like, okay, the fighting is the same. I know what to expect here. Whereas in this game, you have special abilities and enemies do too. So anything that you have, you can run into an enemy that also has that kind of special ability. So the one that everybody's talking about when this game came out and reviews and everything is the Spartan kick.
Of course.
Because, hey, 300 kick people, and it's fun. It's super awesome. So to the point where you're like, hey, come get me. Run up to the top of something tall, and then they climb up a ladder or whatever to get you, and then you just kick them back off. The sound effect for it is really nice and just crunchy, impactful, just like, bam, you knock them off. And then you can see their health bar as they fall, and then as soon as they hit the ground, if it's long enough distance, they're just dead from the fall damage. So it's just fun, even if you don't like kick them all the way off and they just land on like a lower rooftop or something and then get right back up to come get you. It's still fun to do. Yeah. But there's all sorts of like other abilities in there that are awesome. You have your trees divided between sort of 3 different skill sets. So you have Hunter, which is all of your bow stuff. You have Warrior, which is all of your like melee weapon skill based things, and then Assassin abilities, which is all your sneaky, stabby type skills. So I don't know. I've been spreading them out through all 3 trees, but you have different abilities are mapped to kind of face buttons. So you hold in like the left bumper on the 360 or Xbox One controller, and then you hit a face button and it'll do a melee special ability. If you're aiming with your bow, you can then hit a face button to go to another, like bow-based abilities. And then like when you're unlocking, you're assigning to a button yourself. So you can put them on whatever button, and you can have like 4 at a time. You can map a different one and swap them out. If you have them unlocked, you can just change up your loadout at any time. And once you leveled up, I just got a thing where I now have a second ability bar, so I can swap them. So I have 8 that I can go between. So the game really is pushing you like, hey, you have all these cool special skills, use them.
Yeah.
And there are some really, really good ones in there. And the way they work is you have kind of they call it adrenaline, I think, in the game. And you have a yellow bar, but it's basically where it's kind of like, you know, Magic or something in another fantasy-based game. So it's kind of like your mana pool, and it's all segmented up. So whenever you use an ability, it uses a chunk of that at a time. And then when you're doing successful hits and other things, you build that back up, you know, analog, it slowly fills up. And once you fill up a bar, you can use it. And there's abilities that, you know, things that make you get it faster with, you know, things you can put on your armor, like, hey, you gain more of your adrenaline back on hits or on, you know, in addition to all your other type of armor things like better crit, better armor, better this and that. There's so many stats that you can get on there. Like this game also adds more armor pieces than Origin had. So you have like your head, you have your chest, you have like your belt or whatever you want to call it, like your cool ancient Greece skirts. Basically, you have feet armor and you have hand or greaves kind of armor slots, and then you have your bow and you have your melee weapon slots for all those set up, and you get all sorts of cool looking armor. It's really, really cool. There's some really ornate helmets and all sorts of different stuff too.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's tons of stuff, ways they could go in that kind of ancient Greece with, you know, those kind of things. It's
for sure. And you have you always have the Spear of Leonidas with you as the kind of artifact cool weapon of this game. So instead of having wrist blades, since this predates all that, that's something that Origins kind of delved into of like, hey, where'd the wrist blades come from? But in this game, you just have the spear, and there's some brutal assassination like animations where you like jump down on somebody, like kick their legs out from under them, and just like slash their throats and like all sorts of just crazy stuff that you're like, oh wow, ow, like oh that looked like it hurt. But yeah, it's all like you have a bunch of maps divided on a bunch of different islands. Some of them are big, some of them are small. And they're all kind of just like Origins level gated, sort of, where it's like, hey, if you're not this level, you can go there and look around, but don't get into a fight because you'll die.
Yeah.
Because this game is even more so than Origins, where like if you're finding someone who's even just one level above you, you're going to have a tough time. Just because you're not causing enough damage and they can hurt you really badly. So you could probably do it, but you got to be very, very careful.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, like the story in this game is better. Plays Cassandra, do not play as Alexios. His voice actor is a terrible Hanna-Barbera cartoon voice. It's so bad. It's so like it's to the point where you're like, how did this make it through the game? Because like everyone else that you run into, like the main story characters, they are all voiced well. Most of the side, you know, random NPCs that you run into are voiced, you know, at least well for that type of thing. There's a couple that are a little goofy here and there, but they're, you know, acceptable. And then like the male main character is just like, why did you choose to voice it this way? You sound like you're in a weird, like completely different type of game, like hamming it up so badly.
How different are their stories?
I mean, you only play as one, so you pick at the start of the game and then you continue on it. And it's pretty much, I think you swap them. So like you're playing as the main character and the story is like about you. These things happen to you no matter which one it is. I'm sure there's probably little subtle differences in between because I've mostly played Cassandra because she's so much better. Because like the voice, you hear Alexios' voice for a little bit, you're like, nope.
Do you think
not even?
Do you think that maybe they were originally just going to go with her, but they maybe felt like they needed to put a male in there too, and they just kind of slapped it in there?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Because it's very, very tied into the story. Because you have the main story is very much about like your family, your family's history, and what happened to them after like the intro to the game and things like that. And then you have flashbacks to stuff as you hit different kind of story points. It's like, oh, hey, it triggered this memory of this thing or whatever. So no, they definitely planned this from the start to have the both characters.
Okay. I wondered. That's what everybody said. You know, not to play as her. You know, not as him.
Like, and she's voiced great. It's like the quality difference is just really weird. She's got a lot of the type of things you would think of from Ezio, and some of the stuff they did in those Assassin's Creed games, where you have your, you know, dramatic moments and stuff are fine, but it's not afraid to be a little tongue-in-cheek at times, but it's like the right level of that, where she's kind of a little bit of you know, a lovable rogue type character, I guess. and Alexios is just like this big, weird, goofy cartoon thing that I'm just like, why? That doesn't make any sense. You do not sound like a human being. You sound like a terrible, stupid character that I don't like.
That doesn't make any sense at all. Whatever.
I think it's anything else I wanted to mention about it, but yeah, like the special abilities are great. There's one that I use all the time that's like a teleport assassination, basically. So you throw the spear from a certain distance. You can't throw it for forever, but pretty far away, and then you like instantly teleport to that guy and pull him out of him. And then when you upgrade it, you can chain it so you can throw it to somebody else, and just can like wipe out a bunch of guys. I think I can do up to 2 chains, so I can do like 3 in a row if there's people close enough to do it. Yeah, there's some cool ones for like the bow, where you get like a special arrow that does extra damage, or different things like multiple targets or multiple shots and stuff. Cool. I'm like, I want all of these things. Why do I have to choose just one thing at a time as I level up?
I hate that.
they're all really well. No, I mean that's the point. It's definitely. I know, but this is the most RPG that Assassin's Creed has ever been. Oh, that's another thing I'll mention is that the dialogue in here, where you make dialogue choices for the first time in an Assassin's Creed game, is actually really cool. Most of the time, it doesn't seem like it matters all that much, but there's sometimes that it will.
Yeah.
Supposedly, some of the things won't even be seen for a long time, so I don't know how much impact it all has. But it just made, going through side quests and stuff, it's just cool to be able to choose what your character says. If nothing else, it makes you feel like a little more connected to him versus just, hey, it's a cutscene.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's a good. Ever since Mass Effect did that, it was like you kind of play other games of that style like Mass Effect, and then when they don't have the choices for different dialogue, you're kind of like, I kind of miss that. I'd rather have that. So yeah, for them to add it in Assassin's Creed, that's pretty sweet.
This one isn't to the Mass Effect degree. It's a lot more like Witcher maybe, but not as many choices there. You usually have like 2 or 3 choices at a time ever. A lot of times I'm playing on what they call adventure mode, I think, where it doesn't just give you a lot of the times. Sometimes if it's just a quick thing and you already know what it is, they will give you a marker for your quest. But sometimes it's like, hey, this thing is south of this mountain, close to this thing, and you have to kind of try and figure out where it is.
See,
but in practice, most of the time it's like, oh, hey, here's this question mark close to what they're saying, so you just go to that question mark, or you take your eagle and fly and like, oh, there it is. So it's not really like too difficult to find things anyway, but it does give you more dialogue in a lot of the things that you run into, because you ask people like, hey, where is this thing?
Well, that's one of the things I read this week that they said you'll be able to do in Red Dead. You could turn off the map markers, and you have to actually ask somebody, where this is at, and they will say, you go down this way, hang a left by this, and you go, and that kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that.
If it is how they make it sound for Red Dead, that's a little more hardcore than what's here. This is kind of like halfway in between. That as one extreme, and then here's the marker for everything is the other extreme. This would be somewhere kind of in the middle of that. But I've been really enjoying it. And I don't know, I think I'm I hit level 20 right before we started recording, so I no longer take fall damage, which is great. You can just jump off a cliff and just go, wee!
I've heard of a lot of comparisons to a lot of the RPG-y side of it to Witcher, which is, to me, is not a bad thing at all.
A little bit. It's not as complicated, or, it's definitely not as good of a story as Witcher was, just writing wise, but it's still like really, really good. It makes it like, in retrospect, Origins is a really good game, but it makes Origins feel almost like the prototype for this game, because you could see in that game where, okay, they could have had the dialogue in there if they'd had time to get it done, but having that extra year, because they were working on both games at the same time,
right?
Because Ubisoft is so big, that this one's like, okay, we can get all those things in there. And there's a few things that are like missing or streamlined from Origins that aren't in here. So Origins had a lot heavier emphasis on hunting things, because you could look and say, hey, here's this, here's something that's leather, here's something that's hard leather, here's this type of thing and that type of thing that you could spot with your eagle and then go hunt it. Whereas this game, it's kind of there, but you do have materials you gather, but it's not as in depth. A lot of the stuff you get is when you're going through like a fortress or something. Yeah. You have the two different factions in this game of Athens and Sparta, and they're at war because of the setting of the game, the Peloponnesian War, I think. So you have different areas that are under control of one faction or the other, and you can, sap their control away by killing soldiers or doing all these different things like burning supplies, and you can loot those supplies before you burn it. So that gets you a lot of wood and other things that you can use to upgrade your ship or upgrade your items. So you get like wood and iron and a couple other things that you can also pick up in the world. You just get a lot less of it than when you're going through a fort and stealing it from all their chests.
Right, yeah. And, that happens.
Hey, you gathered it for me. I'll just take that. Thank you.
That happens a lot of times with games when they come out on a yearly basis. It's like, you see that, especially with sports games. It's like, okay, it used to be that way with Madden. When NCAA came out, there'd be a lot of cool things in NCAA that wasn't in Madden, and then the next year they would be in Madden. It's kind of, you kind of get that feeling sometimes with Assassin's Creed.
It's kind of that, but with Assassin's Creed Origins, they had a bunch time before that too,
right.
So it's just kind of like what they wanted to do with each game. I think they decided early on, like, well, we can just do the normal cutscene thing in this one and be able to get it done and not have to cut anything else, versus throwing in a lot of dialogue for everything completely changes how you'd have to set games like that up. So I can see why they're like, yeah, well, we won't do that here. You want to do it here. So it was kind of like a stepping stone. It's like, okay, we're like 85 to 90% of the way where we wanted to be as far as kind of towards an RPG, and now they're a little bit more that way. So
makes sense.
Definitely a very, very fun game.
Yeah, I definitely I play all the Assassin's Creed games eventually. Like I say, I'm holding out for a sale or Black Friday or something like that right now, because I've got so many other games to play anyway that
there's a few of them out there.
I don't need to pile a big Assassin's Creed on it right now. So
I was kind of in the mood for it when it was having preview videos coming out and seeing all the fun Spartan kicks off of cliffs and things people were doing. I'm like, all right, I want to play that. And if I don't start it now, then I'll be wishing I had when Red Dead comes out. Be like, oh, well, I'll play Red Dead, but now I can't play Assassin's Creed. So that's kind of why I was like, all right, I better do it now. Otherwise I'll have to wait till way after, because I'll be playing Red Dead.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of why I didn't buy Assassin's Creed day ones, because I knew I wouldn't have time to play it all by the time Red Dead came out. So
it also worked out that I was mostly done with pretty much everything, other things that I was needing something new to play. So I was like, okay, well, I'll pick this up in Forza and play, back and forth through October with those two.
I still need to finish Spider-Man. I haven't even had a chance to sit down here and finish Spider-Man yet. So
I'm at like 47%.
Well, I'm at 49 or 50, but it's like I've only had two times to really sit down and play it for a good while. So I have some free time coming up the next week or so. So
I'll probably dive back into that game at some point and to get the platinum for it, just because it's so much fun to mess around in there.
Well, I bought the season pass, so it's like I want to hurry up and get the story done. So then when because I think the end of this month is DLC, and then the end of November, month, right? And then one in December. So it's like, well, I want to knock that out. So then while I'm playing Red Dead, then I can go, oh wait, the DLC's out for Spider-Man. I could play that for 5 hours or however long. I don't know how long any of the DLC is. I doubt it's hugely deep. I could be wrong, but jump into it for 5 or 10 hours and go yay, and then go back to Red Dead. So at least that's the tentative plan. I don't know. We'll see. What's bad is the week that the Red Dead comes out on what, the 31st, or when is that?
No, 29th, it's a little before 30th? That.
Yeah, it's 20th.
But right at the end of the month.
Yeah, and then I leave the 2nd for Florida, and I won't be back until the 7th. So it's like, oh, so there's a whole week I won't have my PlayStation 4 with me to play.
If you'd like, you can always drop off Red Dead at my place on the way to Florida. I'll play it for you and give it back when you come back up.
I'll actually be coming through, but I will be flying back. So I'm driving down and flying back. So that probably will not happen. Yeah, I know you're confused. Why am I driving down and flying back?
I wasn't going to ask.
Well, because a family member wants us to take a vehicle down and leave it. So so we have to have a way to get back. So so we'll drive 14 hours down and fly 2 hours back.
That's a little bit quicker.
Yeah, a whole lot of difference. Yeah, way big difference. So we're just going to make a little 5-day vacation out of it. So, but anyway, so
I've also been playing
Forza. That's what I was going to say. You've been playing Forza more. So
I have now driven all 530 roads because I just like bombing around the map, finding all the random things, and okay, I'll do a race now. All right, I'm gonna go around and explore some more.
Yeah, that's the way. That's the way to play it. Yeah.
Find all the weird ramps you can jump off of. Find the little playgrounds that have all the things that you can do, donuts and jump through pipes and all that kind of weird stuff. I like all the off-road things. So I'm driving. Yeah. I think I'm still driving. It's not the starter vehicle, but it's one of the first like races when you're going through the introductory stuff. It's like the first like dirt vehicle you get. So it's some Subaru's off-road something or other.
Yeah,
it's actually one of the better range cars, so it handles really well. I think it's an S1 class, which is it only goes up to S2. So I'm like, all right, I've got this other thing. I tried it, but nope, it's not as good as this one. I'll just go back to that.
Yeah,
it's really good at going just like off-road through all the like random hills or mountain beaches or whatever you're driving on, and you can still keep up speed. Where some of like the speed cars, you go off road and it's like, I can't do it. I'll go like 5 miles an hour and yell at you. My transmission is just screaming. Fine, I'll just go back to the other car that's meant for this. But yeah, I've done a lot of that stuff. I need to do some more of like the story mission things and just a bunch of different of the types of races. I like the dirt races, are fun. Cross country ones are my favorite because they're just like, hey, we'll set up a track just randomly through stuff. So you'll crash through fences and jump over this and that. And it's a lot more fun than just like a road circuit or something. Although some of those are still pretty good because you have either point-to-point races or you have actual circuit races. And there's 2 different kinds per category. So you have like road races, you have street races, you have dirt races, off-road races. I think you've got like drag races I unlocked at some point. There's like so much crap game to do. It's a little ridiculous. So after you get through the intro part of the game, it's just like each week is a different season. So I think this week was winter. So it makes it a little bit different for driving around. But honestly, it doesn't make a huge difference for handling. It's a little bit for sure. But I guess maybe it's just the car that I drive just feels the same because it's doing all sorts of crazy drifting and slipping around corners and all sorts of stuff like that. That's like, well, it feels as slippery as it used to in spring and winter, summer when I was driving those. So.
Right. I have downloaded it on PC and on Xbox One. I have yet to fire it out, but I've got it downloaded.
Yeah. It's a very pretty game.
Yeah.
My favorite thing that's happened so far is at one point I was driving through. I went sort of off of this little hill and went through the air and didn't realize where I was, but noticed real quick that I was over the train tracks when the train smacked me and I went flying like super far through the air. It's like, all right.
See, that would be one I'd have to capture that out. That would just be too good.
This isn't real life, I'm glad, because otherwise I've just been crushed under this train. Instead, I get to fly majestically through the air, tumbling around until I finally land and then crash.
I heard there's this teeny tiny little car that you can get. That's apparently one of the like you have to win a race with it. It actually unlocks an achievement for it. But it's the smallest production car in the game, and it looks like one of those like Fisher Price like hop-in cars with the yellow roof and the red body on it.
Oh, is it one of those, what do they call them, smart cars or whatever?
Yeah, it looks something like that. It's just absolutely hilarious looking. But they said it's because of how small it is, that like you can tweak it a weird way, and it's like one of the best accelerations in the game, so you can use it for drag strips.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, there's some goofy cars in the game. They've got some and then some ones you can buy and things too that they're like, hey, check out what you can buy. They have like some James Bond themed stuff. But yeah, you're always like getting, whenever you're leveling up all your different areas, you get wheel spins or super wheel spins. So it's just like, hey, here's some random loot or money. And it's just it looks a lot like kind of like the big wheel on Price is Right or something, or a gigantic slot machine, because it's like on this big video screen in no man's land, like that. Yeah, it's like a big white room where they put all the graphics basically at the end of the race. So like it'll go through and you're like, hey, you got these ugly looking shoes, or you got this cool shirt for your character, or you got this new car that you didn't want, or hey, you got some credits, or this or that. It's how they kind of give you loot half the time versus you just having to buy it, which you also have the places that you can buy cars, either the just festival itself or the auction that people sell stuff in. Auction house, whatever it's called. Yeah,
I think so. Auction
and
house.
I'm playing it way different than a lot of Forza people. It's like, oh, hey, new car, cool. I'll just keep driving this one.
Yeah, that's what a lot of times that's what I'll do.
I have like 1 million something credits at the moment, and most of the stuff I spent on are the houses that you can buy to fast travel to. Once you buy them, you can fast travel to them.
Yeah,
it's about the only things I've bought. I bought a few cars. When I get to a race, it's like, hey, you don't own one that's this class yet, so you have to buy one. I'm like, okay, I'll buy a car.
Yeah, I mean that's usually a lot of times that's the only way you'll get me out of a car is once I get one that I like to stay in it unless I have to use a different car for a different race or something like that.
I'm not enough of a car person to go in there and be like, hey, I want this specific brand, model, blah, 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 blah thing. I'm just like, I don't know what most of them are. Or if I do, it's like, hey, that's just a regular car that I can see on the street, so why would I want to drive that?
Yeah, exactly. That's usually what
it's a Ford pickup truck. Woo! They do have one that I haven't driven yet that I got that's a 3-wheel car.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got like 2 wheels in the front and 1 in the back, I think, or is it the other way around? I can't remember. I think but it's some like British make car. There's a lot of British cars that they've thrown in here. There's some cool like old British sports cars that you can find and unlock, or just buy some of them too. That look cool.
When I was down on the coast there in North Carolina a couple weeks ago, there was a guy driving around Greenville that had one of those 3-wheel cars, 2 in the front.
Well, this isn't that.
And
this is like an old car from like the 60s or something. Probably.
Oh, is it a little like box, almost like a little boxy like thing?
That has, not very boxy now.
It's
like sort of a little bit,
but hard. Yeah. I have to get a picture of it. I think I know what one you're talking about.
But it's a very unique car for all the other ones in the game. It's like, look, here's all these Ferraris or this or that or car. Here's a pickup truck, and then you have this weird little cars. And there's a few other like unique cars that they've thrown in there. I forget what gaming site it was, but they had like a whole like top 10 weird cars in Forza Horizon 4. I was like, oh, hey, I've seen that one. Oh, I haven't seen that one. I want to get that.
I could see that, especially
that looks like dumb. You do get to drive a Warthog, like a Halo Warthog in the game, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Or maybe because I'm thinking of the Warthog from the original Halo. So like super just like handling super slippery.
And it doesn't drive like that where you're using the stick one way and the car, it drives like a real.
Well, it's not that even. It's like, okay, I figured that it would be maneuverable. No, it's a big, heavy beast. Yeah. Like it's maybe a different like class of Warthog or something. But you have like one of the special events, like the showcase events. One of them is a Halo themed one because why not?
Yeah, why not?
So you're going there. You have like your big one. You have a bunch of like Warthog things like coming in and out around you. You've got like ghosts and drop ships and things flying around above you, like laser beams going pew pew pew. Like this is goofy, but sure, why not? It's I guess not any goofier than racing a train or racing any other random weird thing in Forza.
I want to say that the Warthog was in the last one, but it was like
it could have been. I don't know.
I don't remember. It wasn't like they didn't have like a racing event for it. It was like if you played like so many Halo games and so many Forza games, they sent you a code for, I don't remember. It seemed that sticks in my head anyway. I may be totally wrong. It's been so long. But I want to say
I haven't bought it, but you can buy it to drive after too if you want.
Yeah, I would have to buy it. It would just be my regular driving car. It's like
By the way,
yeah, just get out of my way.
Unlockable car horns, and some of them are just really dumb and terrible, but some of them are pretty good. I think right now I just have an auga kind of like horn, but it's goofy. But then there's all just like sound effects, like laser beams and stuff that you can get to.
Yeah,
or like the Windows XP shutdown sound.
Okay, sure, why not?
That's what I want to like blast at people as I pass them by in a race.
Very threatening.
So yeah, it's just packed full of stuff. That's a stuff game for sure.
Yeah, it is. I haven't played too much this week. Mark of the Ninja came out.
Like the remastered version.
Yeah, the remastered version. I ended up buying it on the Switch. I knew I'd owned it somewhere. I couldn't remember if I owned it on PC or Xbox or where I owned it from. And it was actually, I'd bought it on 360. And if you own it on 360, you get the remastered edition upgrade for free on Xbox One. So
yes and no.
Yeah.
So. If you have just the game but not the DLC, you have to pay $5 on any platform. Well, at least PC and Xbox.
I don't know if I had the deal. I don't know.
No. If you had the special edition or you had the original game and the DLC, then you can get the remaster for free.
I might have
the regular game, then you have to pay $5 because that's what I would have had to do on PC.
See, I didn't have to pay $5.
I looked it up. I looked it up.
It was just automatically in my downloads when I
yeah, you must have had the DLC or just the special edition that they've done before.
I may have. I don't know. All I know is I bought the original edition back in 2012. That's all I know. I don't remember. That was 7 years ago, so I don't remember if I bought the DLC or if I bought the special. I don't even know what I bought. I
don't even know what I had for breakfast.
I don't know. All I remember was I had it and I had totally forgot I had it because I'd looked through my list of games. I don't have my 360 hooked up right now, so I couldn't actually go on my 360 and look. And I went online and was looking through my purchases. I don't think I went back far enough because I couldn't remember how long ago it'd been. Yeah. It's like, I really thought I'd bought that on 360, but I wanted to buy it. It didn't matter. I was going to buy it on Switch anyway. I'd almost rather have it on Switch because I could take it with me wherever I go.
Yeah, that'd be a good game for mobile.
Yeah, and it's great. Looks nice. To me, it's nothing different than the other one other than the graphics are a whole lot prettier and it's in 1080p and it's been so long since I played the original one. I couldn't tell you if they added anything to it or not because it was new to me.
They did, because I looked at the Steam page for it and they added a few little things because it has like all the stuff that was the special edition before. Yeah. They up-res the graphics so that it looks good in 4K.
Yeah.
And I was like, but it's not going to look that much better than what it already did because it already looked really good.
Yeah, I mean that style of graphics, I can't imagine it just maybe looking more clear, if it could even be more clear. I don't know.
Well, you notice on something like the art assets are not drawn or whatever rendered at a size. Scaling it up, you'll notice it. Just like if you take a photo in Photoshop and blow it up, you'll say, "Oh, this looks a little blurry."
Yeah.
But if it's at a decent size and it's only getting blown up a little bit, you usually don't notice.
Yeah. I haven't played it a whole lot just because I also bought Chasm on the Switch. And that game's the one that I've been playing the most this week.
What is Chasm?
They call it a Metrovania style game. It's like a 16-bit side scroller. It's very Castlevania, Metroid-y feeling. It's all pre-rendered, pre-generated dungeon, and pretty much what it is you're a soldier who's a rookie soldier who gets sent to this town, and everybody has disappeared from the town. They all went down in a mine, and they're trapped in a mine by these monsters and demons and stuff like that, and you got to go free them all. And it's technically just, I think, that's the only thing. The only level is a dungeon, or is the mine, but it's flipping huge. You have these huge different sections to the mine, and the version that I play of it may not be the same version that you play of it. Exactly. I actually started playing it at first, and then was like, let me restart it. I don't like. I started it on hard, and it was a little too hard. It was like, okay, I need to back this up a little bit. Let me knock it down a level, but I'll keep my save just in case maybe normal is too easy. So but it's not. It's normal is good. I don't want to go any harder than that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just it has a lot of RPG elements to it. So you level up, you find random weapons. You've got guys to buy magic spells off of, and healing potions and new weapons, and you can bring guys metal that you get out of the mines. Once you rescue the certain people, you got to rescue the blacksmith, you got to rescue the mage, you got to rescue once you unlock them or rescue them, they unlock in town. You can go back and then upgrade your weapons and things like it. Apparently it's a very, very small indie company that it's been on Steam for a while. Apparently the Switch was their most requested console.
End of July 31st, because I'm looking at the Steam page right now.
Okay,
that's the first thing that came up on Google search.
Yeah, I wasn't sure exactly how long it'd been, but all they said was it looked very interesting. I like the pixel art style and stuff like that. So it's like, it's $20. Nice. I'll pre-order it for $20, and it's awesome. I mean, it is really, really, really cool. My only gripe with the game is save points are very stretched out. And once you die, you're dead, and you got to start back at a save point. So if you've been playing for 45 minutes and haven't hit a save point and die, then you got to start all that 45 minutes over again. So
it only takes so much of that.
Well, and that's where in my brain I have to go, okay, I'm this far away from the save point. Let me run back and save it real quick, and then because once you reach a certain level, as you progressively go deeper, they get harder. So you go back, you still get XP, but man, you can just hit them with one kill. So it's just like, oh, no problem, whack, 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 whack. And apparently you can unlock shortcuts, but I don't think I found all the shortcuts yet. I've only found like 1 or 2 shortcuts. Every once in a while you'll find a warp scroll so you can warp back to town. I did that, but the only problem is I've only unlocked where I could get to level 3, and I'm in level 4. So I've got to go down to level 3, go all the way through level 3 again to get back to where I left off at. Which I think there's supposed to be a way to unlock it to make it travel easier. But if you don't go to every minute corner of the game and search everything, you'll pass it. There were some guys that I passed in the first level or first section of the mine that I didn't even free, that I didn't know. When I was backtracking to go, I was like, oh, now I can grapple. Well, I call it grapple, but you can actually grab onto ledges. You can you can find a claw that'll let you grab onto ledges and pull up. So there were some places in the first area that I couldn't get to before, and realized that when I went back, oh, look, there's a townsperson that I couldn't even get to before that I now have freed, and I can go buy potions from or go buy whatever from. But I mean, the story of the game is not it, but it's definitely a Metrovania, Castlevania type game, and I know there's a ton of those out there right now. But I like it. It's fun. It's very cool for a little quick, hour play, and then sit it down, go do something else, come back, and pick it right back up again. And for $20, I don't know how long the game is, but I know I've seen, and if you watch the trailer of it, it shows you like how big the dungeon or the mine map is, and it's like humongous. I don't know how many levels it is or anything, because once I started playing, I'm like, wait a minute, is this the whole point of the game, is I got to go through this mine and that's it? I'm like, that seems like that'd be awful quick. And then I'm going, oh wait, this place is huge. I will never get through all this. I don't know. I've only got 3 more people to rescue, so I don't know what happens after that. If maybe something else unlocks and you got to go down deeper or what. But yeah, that's been my addiction this week, is playing that when I've had a little bit of free time. But I definitely recommend it. It's definitely a cool game, especially if you like the retro style games. I mean, you can even find a whip in there, so you could be like Castlevania and
yeah.
But I prefer the sword because it's more powerful. But if you want the whip, you can get the whip. So, but yeah, I think that's what I like about it is the leveling up. It's more of it's got some RPG elements in it that most of your Metroidvania games don't have in it, which kind of makes it a little different. But as far as the overall play style of the game, it doesn't do anything revolutionary for the genre. So, but still fun to play, still worth the $20. So Matt, we haven't talked to you in quite a while. So what have you been playing?
Apparently because I showed up a little bit late, I was playing Patty Cake.
What is that? I don't think I've ever heard of that.
It's trolling
a cool clapping game.
Yeah, that's the only Patty Cake that I've heard of.
It's real strategy here. You gotta watch in the elbows so you can get the good momentum.
Gotcha. Okay. So you had the nieces over and the nieces and the nephews. So you're playing. I got you.
No.
Oh, all right. My bad.
I was playing it with the wall. I had to get in the championship mode.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. No, but seriously, playing Overwatch. I started getting on a rut with it, and since we started playing again, we found there's one of the Overwatch League's coaches occasionally makes YouTube videos that are insightful for noobs like us, and it has really elevated our game to that next level, which is awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah. Then I've been playing some D&D.
Of course.
Then there's Destiny. Got Destiny like 3 weeks ago. I had stopped playing after Curse of Osiris, which was a very disappointing DLC. And so I didn't play Warmind, which was a disappointing DLC that turned into an okay DLC, from what I was reading. And then there's currently Forsaken, which is this Destiny iteration's version of the Taken King, which is pretty fun. I don't think there's as much. Excuse me. I don't think there's as much like wonderment, if you will, as the Taken King, because the Taken King was like the whole thing about the Hive is that we didn't know anything about them,
right?
And in the Forsaken, it's like you're going to an area that kind of already existed. Like you're going to a different. There's the reef. You're going to the sunken shore, which is like near there. It's just like an open world area with a bunch of asteroids floating through space.
Oh, okay.
And so you just kind of hop around between the asteroids, and each asteroid has its own little thing to it. So it's just not. It doesn't quite have the same amount of spark as the Taken King, but the amount of content is there. And if you're like me and you didn't play Warmind, there's a lot of content.
Yeah,
so I had to get from like level 350 to 580, and the soft cap is at 510, meaning like all the good armor stops dropping at 510. So then once you hit that, you're just kind of like, all right, I got to do these 3 events every week if I want to keep leveling up. Okay, click, 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 click.
Yeah,
but they have a new game mode, which is nice. They're slowly starting to figure it out. It feels like they used to have a really big crew, and then because everybody ran away from the game, they like cut the crew back, and now they can only focus on 1 or 2 things at a time.
And a lot of people left. So.
Or they've all switched over to Destiny 3, and we're about to get shafted in the ear again.
Well, the rumor is new consoles are coming out, so they probably maybe want to have that ready by launch.
New console, new Destiny.
If they drop Destiny 3 and there's not at least some progression transition to where like we're just going to give you everything from Destiny 2 and Destiny 3 right off the bat, we're just porting it with fancier graphics, I think people are just going to be like, no, I'm done with this. Like it's an MMO that you can't save progression on, and nobody wants that. Like,
no. And that's why we quit playing a long time ago. That's why I got I did finish the story of 2 and then started to do that grind and went, no, I just don't have it in me again.
I think what we know now is whenever the 3rd one comes out, Destiny 3, don't play it until there's some sort of DLC that has Aiken in it.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's going to be Destiny 3, my Aiken Breaking Heart.
Yeah.
Or just Destiny 3 Bacon DLC.
Bacon.
Or what you do is when Destiny 3 comes out, you wait a year and then play it.
And then by that point, you've had even more time away.
Yeah.
All the bugs have been worked out, all that stuff. It's 100% not buying Destiny 3 on launch day.
No, not
I waited 2.5 weeks for Forsaken. I was gonna wait a full month, but I'm like, I'm seeing the reviews. People have put in a suspicious number of hours on it, so it's gonna be solid. So I haven't been let down yet, so I'm happy.
I know the little bit I saw about the new game mode looked kind of interesting.
Gambit
it has like the PvE and PvP together. I forget what it was called.
So there's Gambit mode, which is 2 teams of 4. Yeah, 4. And what you're doing is you each spawn into your own version of the same map, and you're trying to kill all the NPCs in the area to gather widgets, and then you take the widgets and you throw them into a big combined like stockpile. And if you hit a certain amount of team stockpile, you summon a big bad boss at the end. Then you kill the big bad boss and you win. However, the other team, both teams have an option to, instead of putting them in the stockpile, put them in the little thing on the side to screw over the other team. So you can be like, yes, this is bank 5 of these and send over a mini boss. Let's bank 10 of these and put over like a medium-sized boss. Let's bank 15 of these and put a huge freaking boss over there just to ruin their days. But then there's also the option to where you can spend your own money to go over, not actual like cash, but like in-game, like this collectible.
Yeah,
and
I can't remember what it's called now.
Moats, anyway. Moats of Light.
Yeah.
But you can spend that and you jump across to their world, and you're a boss. So you have like quadruple the amount of health, and you do quadruple the damage, and all this other crazy stuff. But apparently it's incredibly unbalanced because of Sleeper Simulant, which is like the Spartan laser of of Destiny. So you just go boop, whoop, and then they're dead. So they're working on balancing that.
So it's kind of like, what was that? They had different levels, and three would go in. You'd fight all these waves, and then a boss would come up. Was that in Taken King? What was that?
Oh, Court of Oryx.
Yeah, it's kind of like Court of Oryx, but it sounds like it's got a little bit of that in it, except you don't collect and then for the boss. You know, you fought waves until the boss came in.
Correct. Yeah, I would say it's like a modern. It's like a little bit of that element in it.
Yeah.
But it's more like they took the Strike playlist and the Crucible playlist, and they're like, let's put something in the middle.
Yeah.
And so that way everybody hates it. No, it's good. It's fun. They're just, it's amazing. They said they developed Destiny 2 so that they can quickly iterate like monthly balance issues or like bi-monthly patch issues. They don't seem to be doing that too well.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Like, they need they just need like 3 people to sit down and be like, let's just monitor this stuff and do this, and then we'll push these patches every week. And that like their whole job is just to like maintain the database of numbers and be like, tweak this one up a little bit, this one down a little bit, tweak this one up a little bit. But they should have that. They don't appear to have so I don't know.
I had no desire for Forsaken when it came out. Then they said this Gauntlet thing. I was like, that sounds cool, but it's really not enough for me to go back and play.
You're not missing anything.
Yeah, and I hate that. I had such, we played Destiny 1. I know I had 700 hours in it, and the other guys had over 1,000. And we played it and played it and played it. And then the second one came out, and it was like, this is not much different than the first.
But there's less.
There's less. But I don't have it in me to do it again. And I've just, even with the improvements a year later, I've still just been like, meh. It's like everybody this week talking Call of Duty. Oh, you got to play the new Call of Duty. It's awesome. No.
They introduced a new mode at least, but
yeah,
they're jumping on that battle royale train, and I heard they've done a pretty decent take on it. But I don't know. I just have game
PUBG cries.
Yeah.
Because
PUBG's
it's
like,
pretty much like, it's not exactly the same, but it's very close to PUBG, or at least the people who like PUBG over Fortnite would probably prefer trying the Call of Duty ones.
Yeah,
versus Fortnite, right?
I thought the beta was pretty good.
But yeah.
It's almost like PUBG had the ability to control the entire market forever, and because they released such a buggy game, everyone else stepped up to the plate and be like, well, we'll introduce a game without bugs. And everyone was like, done. I can take my money.
Well, that's
it's crazy. Why didn't we think of it first?
What a concept.
But yeah, I mean, PUBG's not going anywhere. There's still plenty of people.
No, those games aren't going anywhere. I've never played it or Fortnite. I do have Fortnite downloaded to my Switch, but I have never booted it up. So it's one of those games that I'm like, maybe nah.
Yeah, just because of the type of games I like to play, I'm leaning more towards Fortnite, just because I like that kind of more goofy style over PUBG. But it's cool to have. It's cool to have two different kinds of games out there.
Yeah.
Now that we're getting that, and then Battlefield is going to have that mode, and there's a few other games coming. So it's like, all right, now we're getting to the deluge, where it's just going to be too many of them.
Yeah. Zombies Battle Royale 3.
The one thing that I think that they're missing that they should have done, both Call of Duty and Battlefield, is instead of adding it as a game mode in their game, put out a separate Battle Royale game so that people who just only want to play Battle Royale can only play, buy that, or even do it free to play like Fortnite just somehow, so that people can get in on it and play that if they don't want to play the rest of it, right?
Well, I think they wanted those people to buy the game, though, because it's like...
But they're not going to.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
That's the problem.
A few will, but a lot of them will, especially because Fortnite is free. That's why it has such a huge, huge audience.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
True.
I totally agree there. Was it, I don't even know how to say his name there, Res Hoxley. He's like, Battle Royale games, and he has a toilet after him. But I will say this.
Go that far,
I don't know, but I will say that Fortnite is popular with the third graders that my wife teaches. I will say that.
Yep.
They love
That's
the
the
Fortnite.
Smart things they did for that game was make it free to play and have a cartoony, fun, goofy aesthetic so that kids can enjoy it, and their parents won't immediately shut it down and be like, "Why are you playing that game?" No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I've never been one for the Battle Royale games. I mean, but I'll take this back. I've never had any desire to try it. I've almost dipped my feet in it, toes in it a couple times, and went, no.
So I mean, it's a very specific thing that either clicks with you or it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I tried, and they're interesting, but it's like half of it's luck and half of it is nothing. Intense combat, nothing. Like, and then so there's a lot of interesting strategy and stuff that it's not my kind of game. I don't like the weird amounts of stress it puts on me mentally to like get good at that game.
I didn't even care for PvP and Destiny. I would get too angry with it. So so I could only imagine it with Fortnite. It'd be like, I would just be so angry. It's like, why am I getting a free game that makes me angry? That makes no sense. But so anything else you've been playing, Matt? I didn't want to cut you off.
Not really. I mean, there was I played one other board game, Dinosaur Island. Long story short, it's I don't know whose music that was, but
that was mine. Like, I opened a new tab and stupid autoplay on IGN. Like, with your videos.
But Dinosaur Island is pretty much like, what if all the other parks came out with dinosaurs at the same time? And so it's multiple people trying to build their own little dinosaur parks and be like trying to attract visitors without them getting eaten. Blah 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 blah. It's interesting. It's fun. It's cool. 80s. It just oozes 80s vibe.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So I like the 80s, but I grew up in the 80s. So.
Man, I liked all them dinosaurs we had in the 80s.
Oh yeah, man, those dinosaurs we had in the 80s. And now
dinosaurs I associate way more with the 90s, just because that's when Jurassic Park came out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Cool. Well, let's get into the news real quick. There wasn't a whole lot of news. There was some interesting rumors that came out this week. According to the Wall Street Journal, Japan, Nintendo is planning to release a new version of the Switch sometime in 2019, perhaps early summer is the rumor. Right now, what I find funny about the article is the only thing that they could cite that it would be upgraded would be the LCD screen, maybe.
And that's not even confirmed. It's just hey, that's what everyone can sort of think of that they might do, and that's what all the different articles seem to be like. Yeah, sure, the screen. All right.
But none of them are talking about the processors, which is like the one thing they have to fix to prevent the hacking, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know
but
if
that's
they
not
would...
something you'll sell a new product.
No,
on.
I don't
like,
think
hey,
they would sell a new console
the hacking,
for that.
Guys, like
they could just change that over in the current console and not even say anything about it and just roll right on with it. I mean, it would be cool to have a little bigger screen, because the Switch does have a bezel.
It has a big bezel on it. They could have a lot more real estate.
I would like to have that real estate as a screen. If that would be the only selling point of the console, which I don't think it would be.
Well, if they change the screen, that would allow them to give you a few extra things that aren't related to the screen, like better battery life, because we put in a screen that doesn't take as much power because it's a little bit better of a screen, So it could have some knock-on effects, but I don't know that there's anything they could put in a new Switch that would make me go, yes, I want to upgrade my launch one.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, sure, maybe
bigger battery.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a bigger battery, maybe more onboard memory.
Yeah, but that's still not enough to get me to upgrade.
No, I don't think so. Me either.
How I particularly use the Switch, and then two, the kinds of games that are on the Switch. Like a better screen would be kind of nice, I guess, but it's not needed. Something that I really, really, really want.
Well,
right?
Even Bluetooth. I mean, technically, it has Bluetooth on it. All they would need to do is just upgrade software to do anything new on Bluetooth.
Bluetooth audio would be good, so you don't have to plug in headphones. That would be something people would enjoy.
Yeah, and
it would be useful.
I would think maybe they could do an upgrade on that over the.
But I mean, this is so weird because it's only like by the time this comes out, it will only have been out for 2 years plus however many months, depending on when in 2019 this would be.
Right.
Well, that is about half of Nintendo's console life cycle.
Maybe, but it's also like, how much of an upgrade is it going to be, or is it just going to be kind of like, hey, we're changing the aesthetics a little bit? And you can't even go with like original DS to DS Lite where they're changing that aspect because the Switch is already pretty good. It's not like, oh, this is a chunky, weird, clunky thing that we can make sleeker. It's already fairly sleek looking. So I don't know. Maybe they'll prove us wrong. It'll come out and be like, ooh, we need it. But right now, just thinking about it, I'm like, I'm not sure what would be in there that would make me absolutely.
Yeah. And what I would find interesting would they would just sell the console without the Joy-Cons? Could we upgrade it that way? If it's the same body style, unless because they've already got accessories, Joy-Cons, everything like that, I don't see them changing too much of that because then people would have to buy all new accessories and all new this and that.
I just had a dumb, stupid, terrible idea. What if it's the Nintendo Switch Ultra Wide, so it's like this wide and handheld?
Yeah, the iPad tablet of
like I'm playing. Okay, here we go. I've got a 12-inch screen on this sucker, so
I think
it's not any taller. It's just longer.
Yeah, it's just longer.
I think it'd be cool if they figured out to take the same level of hardware, but just shrink it down smaller. So you can still use the same controllers, maybe, but like shrink the whole size of it so it's not as heavy.
They can't do that though because it's all precisely like fitting.
No, I mean, but that's just
you could make parts inside lighter, maybe, but
that
you have
that
to have
could
all
be
those things. They're not going to be able to cut out anything that will make it way less.
I'd be happy with an official D-pad for the Joy-Con, but
Well, Hori does sell that one, but it doesn't. it doesn't have the rumble, HD rumble, and it has to be attached to the handheld mode.
And all of these things are something they could do with just like put out a new Joy-Con. This
I mean, really, that's they could, and I'm surprised Nintendo itself they themselves haven't put out a Joy-Con of it. They went with Hori; those are officially licensed Nintendo things. If the controllers if the Joy-Cons were easier to take apart, I would just mod one myself. You can get those mod kits for fairly cheap on Amazon to just add a D-pad to it. I kind of like the buttons though. Real D-pad doesn't bother me. I could do with or without the buttons, work fine for me.
Yeah, I mean, that'll depend on the game, right? There might be a few games that you would really like a D-pad, but for the most part, it works okay.
For the most part, it works fine with me.
But if you had the regular D-pad, it's not like you'd say no. Like, okay.
No, I mean, I wouldn't turn it down. I mean, but I don't know. I just can't see what they would do. It's like we talked about before when they were rumors of this with the new DS, 3DS. Yeah, they put in a faster processor, games loaded faster, games run a little smoother. You could make games specifically for that, but there's not that many because then you alienate. So I don't see them doing that with the Switch, with it selling as crazy as it is. I don't know though. I mean, I could be totally wrong.
It's not like they need to put this out in order to boost sales because they're still selling just fine. So what would this even be? Because you don't want to make it where it's completely different, that everybody who already has a Switch feels like, oh, well, you suck. Now I have to buy a new one. You don't want to do that either. So I just can't think of in that narrow kind of window what they're even going to do.
Yeah, I can't either.
Or maybe it's just a rumor. It won't even come true.
It could. Who knows? PSN name changes are finally coming. A lot of people apparently want that.
With a ton of caveats.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a kid, when you originally signed up for PSN and had something really, really dumb as your name, but you wanted to keep all of your gameplay history and all your trophies and stuff, I could see why you would want this.
The one thing...
This is funny to me because on Steam, you can just change your name ad nauseum because you have kind of like an account name,
right?
And then you have your screen name that shows up for everybody else, and you can change your name willy-nilly, and you can look at someone and say, hey, they've been all of these things, and hey, if you don't like your friends changing them all the time, you can always just get a nickname on there and be like, hey, I will always see that this is the name associated with this person, even if they changed the name to something different.
Yeah, well, and that's what a lot of people do. I've got a lot of friends on Switch, and they change their name all the time, and then I'm like, wait a minute, who is that? They've changed their name, and I have to go back and look and see how I met them, and hopefully it's been through Twitter or one of the Me apps or something like that, and I go, oh, that's so-and-so. Thank goodness that they change their name on a weekly basis.
Sony's running into issues because they didn't put it up that way to start with when they made the PSN, and now they're trying to do things that it's only working halfway.
Yeah, I mean, and it costs like was it $10, I think, or if the first one's free, and then if you would change it again, it's $9.99 or something like that.
But some games will have issues if you change your name.
Oh yeah, I could totally see that, especially.
But they don't say what kind of issues.
I would guess
it could vary on game, but I'd say that some stuff it would just could even interfere with how the game runs, possibly just because it's all confused about what's this account name? Who knows?
Well, and that's what I wondered.
It depends on what. It'd be a lot of smaller, older games that were downloadable. Probably any big major titles probably gonna be fine because they'll either have it compatible already or we'll patch it because they'll figure it's worth it. But
yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But
I'm betting the reason that they're being vague is it could be several different things. Yeah. I mean, it could be as small as your name just shows up as the old name in this, multiplayer thing, and it doesn't show your new name. Maybe, but
no big deal.
It might not be limited to that. Who knows?
This is why I use the same gamer tag over all games, and I always have. But even when I was young, it was still the same thing. But I guess I don't know. It's like I said something on Twitter. Somebody said something about it. I'm like, look, if so and so should have had better sense when they were 12 years old, and to make their name such and such and such and such, because I know kids are going to be kids, but still, it's like, why would you want to? I don't know. The worst thing that we ever did was on arcade games where you had to put in 3 initials. We would always get ass to be number 1.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, that was it. But that would go away when you unplug the machine or somebody beat your score. But I don't know. The whole gamers tag thing. I could definitely see it helping out. Like a buddy of mine, when he first got a PlayStation account, his kid was very young and played on his PlayStation account. Well, now his kid is 6th or 7th grade. And he's figured out that he could change his display name. The gamer tag is still the same, but you can change your display name on PSN. So he's constantly always changing it. The trouble is guys like us who think it's him playing, it's not. It's his son because he's hijacked his account. So, eventually his son could change his gamer tag to whatever he wants, and then he could go make his gamer tag his old gamer tag again, which that's what we're hoping for anyway. So we know it's him, because there for a long time it was like, dude, what are you doing? Oh wait, it's not you, it's your 12-year-old son. Sorry, I gotta go, I'll see you later. It's like I'll catch you on the flip side. Yeah, awkward. Yeah. But I mean,
so he always leads. So he always leads strong and be like, when's your bum of a child going to leave?
Yeah.
I was like, I am that child.
Yeah. Ah! So Microsoft is close to buying Obsidian. This is, as far as I know, this was the earliest or the latest story I could find was Tuesday. I don't think anything's actually come of it. I have not seen any update.
I haven't heard anything else.
Yeah, the only reason I think that this is more than just like rumors because of is Jason Schreier, who wrote this up, and he's always very good about checking multiple sources and doing all these things before he puts these up, and it makes sense to me. Sure.
I tell you what,
kind of surprised it hadn't happened earlier.
I kind of am too, but
you know why? Because Pillars of Eternity and Pillars of 2, well, more the second one, because Pillars of Eternity would have been a little while ago, but they're successful enough with that as a studio on their own, but that doesn't mean that their next game is going to be really, really, successful for them. So having Microsoft money will help Obsidian, and for Microsoft's side, it's like, hey, we get this studio that's fairly well liked, and we can have them under our growing belt of studios.
Yeah, I tell you what, with the new studios that they've bought, the success of Game Pass, the way backwards compatibility has went over, Microsoft is really lined up that they can do something with this next console.
They have long ago said, like, okay, we're successful enough around here. We're not trying to beat PlayStation 4 because we can't, but we are going to set ourselves up so that next time around we have more ammo.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, if they could come out of the gate with a Xbox 1, 2, whatever they're going to call it, Xbox 2, whatever, and have backwards compatibility with Xbox One games, have Game Pass available day one with stuff like that, and have these new developers in line to release games within the first year or two, they're going to be well ahead, I think. Or look, at least on paper, look well ahead on.
They're trying to get more in line with Sony as far as the amount of studios that they can, lean on and say, hey, make games for us, right?
Right.
Where they just, this time around in Xbox One generation, didn't really have that, because they're like, oh, wait, maybe studios would be good to have so we can have games that aren't just third party, and then the few things that we already have, like Halo and Forza.
Yeah.
I'm curious what Obsidian is going to make, though, because they've been leaning heavily into like classic RPG stuff with Pillars of Eternity for a long time. So all the people there are kind of in that mode. Are they going to make another thing like that also works as a console game? Or are they going to do more like some of the stuff they've done in the past? I'm just curious. Like,
I am too. Yeah.
It'll probably be pretty well written, because their games tend to be written very well.
Yeah, they are. They're usually really, really good. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Who knows? With the rumors coming out that the next consoles are going to be out in the next year or two, it's going to be real interesting. Whatever E3 they announce these at.
I mean, there's we don't have it in here, but there's a or something or other of like, hey, Sony is developing the PlayStation 5, which whoever they were talking to was like, well, duh, of course we're doing R&D on that. Like, why
they just officially announced it.
Yeah, they officially announced it. It's like, wait a minute, they weren't planning on doing this before? What the crap?
We're going to skip the PlayStation
We're like 5 years in. Obviously, they're working on something.
Of course.
PlayStation 4 is just so good, we decided to stop after this. We'll never make a console again. Nobody at Sony ever said. Like, come on.
Right.
Of course, there's going to be another PlayStation at some point. We just don't know exactly when.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, yeah, I'm not even acknowledging that because it's like, duh.
Yeah. And then, like, any new consoles from Microsoft and Sony, I don't think we'll see till 2020.
I don't either.
Because there's no way they're going to release 18 without having announced it or teased it at this point. And if they did, it'd be like, wait, why are you doing it that way? That seems dumb. Like, I guess maybe there's a really outside chance that this time next year they could put one out, but I think that would be a mistake.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. I'm not even in 2020. I don't know if I'll be ready for another console. We'll see. That's just me personally.
I won't be, just because I play so much stuff on PC that I can continue to play most of the stuff there, and it'll take until kind of like this time around once PlayStation or Xbox has built up, 3 or 4 games that I really, really want to play. That's when I will buy one.
Yeah. Skybound is going to complete Telltale's Walking Dead final season with the original devs. This came out earlier in the week.
Some of them anyway.
Yeah, maybe not all of them, which is good. I didn't even know that. I haven't played the Walking Dead games in a while. I didn't even know that Skybound didn't. I knew they had input in the first 2.
I think that Skybound basically is making a game studio now just for this.
Oh, okay.
Because Skybound Entertainment, I think, is the overall brand that has like the comics that is, Walking Dead and a bunch of other things too, but mostly, Walking Dead is the big thing. And then there's some other stuff too. But I was trying to look at it up earlier today because I knew we were going to be talking about it. Blah, words.
Words are hard.
And like,
are these just going to be like contracted positions, or do you think they're going to work on something else after this?
Because it's so tied into their brand, I don't know if they would continue doing games after this. I think there's something that I think it was like April this year that they started this like wing of the company, the Skybound Games part, and they've published a couple things, if I remember right. I forget what it was now off the top of my head, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're wanting to make a bunch of games, and maybe they will continue on after this. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, at least those fans of the game will be able to complete it.
I mean, yay, but honestly, if they never
finished it... But in what capacity, really,
who would care?
Yeah.
Like, are they going to have the resources to really make it a complete thing or achieve the vision they originally wanted?
I guess we'll find out. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I think it's cool that they're actually getting people back to work on it so that they can finish their baby, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that they have enough to get everybody back. I don't do it that much, but it's better than just some other company buying it and be like, all right, we're going to do Walking Dead now, and we'll just do what we want. So at least there's that.
Yeah, that's
it seems like they're doing it, quote, the right way, if there even is a right way with this situation. But yeah.
Last story that I put in here, it's really not a story. It was more of a press announcement. It was Bethesda and West Virginia Tourism have announced a partnership where West Virginia Tourism is promoting the Fallout 76 game. Since so much of it takes place here, all of it takes place here in the state of West Virginia.
See these things in the game? Hey, guess what? A lot of them are in real life. Come visit our state.
Yeah,
please.
I mean, come visit our state. We want money. Yeah, there's all kinds of cool things. We have, that was, a few weeks ago.
Hey, it makes sense.
Oh, yeah, it makes total sense.
If I were West Virginia, I would have been doing the same thing. Like, let's take advantage of this attention while we got it.
Absolutely, but it's
some tourism dollars.
It is hilarious, though, to read quotes from the governor who clearly does not even know what a video game is. It's like, Nikki sent me that press thing, and I was working. I was like, I can't read it right now. My internet's not coming up. I'll read it when I come home. And when I got home and I read it, I immediately texted her back and went, "Holy crap! You could tell that the governor is an old man who has probably never played a video game in his life, but God bless him for putting something out there anyway."
He's trying.
Yeah, he's trying. He's trying hard, and but I mean, yeah, it's cool. Especially we just last month had the Mothman Festival here in town. And Bethesda was here. The PR people were here with, things to pass out. Fallout Boy, stuff like that or Vault Boy was here, and there was a whole weekend of stuff to do. You could go see where they saw the Mothman and stuff like that, and there's
surprise. We built a secret vault just from Fallout.
Yeah, surprise. Yeah, but like
land real estate.
They had I didn't even know it was happening. Apparently, I don't know. I don't get the press emails from Bethesda anymore, but they had a big press event at the Greenbrier last week where everybody was here from all the major video game outlets. Major Nelson from Xbox and all of them were here. Knew nothing about it till after it was over, but they could go and play the game. And then all of a sudden I started seeing all these pictures from Bethesda at Greenbrier, and I'm like, what the crap is going on? Is this is weird. This is stuff like that doesn't happen here, but yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of cool things to see here in the state. You could go play it in Fallout and then come here and actually see the places where things happen. Flatwood and Monster and, the Mothman and, Camden Park is in there. You can go down and see Camden Park, all this kind of stuff.
Will there be giant killer sloths in West Virginia after this game?
I hope not.
Because I was wanting them because that would be fun. Like bear hunting. Right after that, it's the giant sloth hunting.
But I think the only thing that a sloth can kill is itself, right? It's too slow for anything else.
I don't know. You'd be surprised. I feel like they're just going to be hiding in the bushes. They're so slow and vegetative, blend in. They just you're going to be walking through a bush one day, and it's just going to be
falls out of a tree on you.
Boom.
Oh my goodness! I'm not imagining walking through the woods and a horse falls out of a tree on you, but it's a sloth just.
I mean, their claws are terrifying. So
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It just points its fingers down and then just drops.
Yeah, exactly. So just like that. Yeah. You got it. But yeah, it's just that's why I'm looking forward to Fallout. Is just all the local stuff here. That's if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would. I don't want to say I wouldn't care about Fallout because I do like the Fallout games, but to have a lot of the local, folklore and stuff in it that I have grown up with all my life. Because one of the websites I follow was there. They got to play the game for 4 hours, and they went and said they made a video and said, "Here's the Flatwoods Monster," and I left a comment on there. Was like, that story scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. And to be able to say, "Oh, it's in a video game now, and I can play it," that's so weird. It's something
you could go and shoot the monster and feel better about yourself.
Finally, go shoot that monster because I tell you what, I
don't know.
But
the more I hear about this game, the more I'm like, man, I wish this was a regular Fallout game.
Yeah, I kind of do too.
This thing, because the setting is so cool that it's probably not wasted on this game. It'll probably be fine, but I still would rather it be a regular Fallout game I could get into.
Yeah, I would like that too. But who
knows? Maybe you can still sort of play it that way. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's
once it comes out and people start playing it, then I'll decide.
That's what they keep saying. They keep saying you can play it regularly.
Of course, they're saying that. That doesn't make it true.
Well, we'll find out because apparently the beta's
starting soon.
The beta comes up in a week. And I just got an email while we were talking about something about it.
It's about the time Red Dead shows
I've already submitted all my codes, and they've contacted me and said I'm good to go until they send me the next email.
I did that. Well, they just sent me the next email. That's what I'm saying. I just got the next email. So it's I need to check and see what's up. See, but here's the trick I did. I pre-ordered it on both Xbox and PlayStation 4 because Xbox gets a beta a week early. So
for some reason,
I can't imagine why. So, and then I canceled my pre-order on the Xbox One because I'm not going to buy it on both systems. But so
what, you don't want to play it simultaneously on 2 systems at once?
I'm going to be lucky to play it on 1 system, much less 2. Because the thing about it is I know Nikki's going to either A, want to play it, or B, sit here and watch me play it. So it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to buy it on both of them. Unless it's on sale, and then I'll buy it on Xbox, and she can play it if she wants to play it by herself. But I don't know. But if it wasn't steeped in that local stuff, and I didn't live here, I would be like you, Nathaniel, and I probably wouldn't care about it as much because of the online stuff.
Have they said whether because it's so tied into online, whether you need to buy PlayStation Plus to play it or not, or vice versa with Gold?
I guess.
Or can you play it?
I don't
because
know.
I don't have that, so I'm like, well, if I can't play it because I don't have that, then what would be the point?
I mean, usually, if there's no subscription, then you have to have Plus or Gold.
Yeah, usually you do. So
Yeah,
I know
with
Red Dead, you'll have to have Plus. So I'm sure.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, well, I would play it as a single player thing, but I can't play it because I don't pay for PlayStation Plus. Then I would maybe get it on PC, except it's not coming to Steam till later. So all the things are just like, if I play it at all, it's going to be later.
Yeah.
So didn't they say there were no NPCs or something like that?
Yes.
Am I misremembering?
That's my understanding is every character in the game is a real
So what you're
person.
saying is they're going to be way more lifelike because Fallout games and Bethesda games have many things, but lifelike NPCs.
But what is that? What is so? It's like, okay, I want to go grind some faction things. I want to go be nice with like megaton of this. Where is that? Like, that was part of the charm. Do you just have to go cozy up to actual people now, and they'll be like, "Yo, I need 86 lamps. I'll pay you 300 bottle caps."
Yeah, no.
Like, is that going to be the responsibility of the
players? Oh man,
What?
if you could just troll people that way, make up your own fake quests of just bring me however many of this inane thing.
I lost it. What? Yeah, like I lost my teddy bear. Go over to the haunted rail yard, snap a pic, send it to me.
Oh, what if you could set them up like you take objects and you go place them out for people, and then they come to you? Like, we'll just make a game out of it that way.
Yeah.
Well, what I recommend, Matt, is going and watching. There's a couple of players that have posted like the first 30 minutes of the game from this press event. And the way it seems like is there's a robot at the beginning, and the robot says, "Hey, everybody else has left the vault. You need to go head to this section." And you go to this section, and you could go with up to 3 people in your group. And it's a little camp, and there's a recording there, and it says, "Hey, I'm not here anymore. I've gone. What you need to go next is go over to here." And but that's
voice message the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's like little recordings of like she's like, it was supposed to be like this person. We've moved over here. We've left this base camp for you to use, but we've moved a base camp down here or something like that.
It's all like, hey, we don't really want to talk to you, but we're not going to sever ties. We're just going to be jerks and leave you messages.
Yeah,
hey, we were just here.
Yeah, and I don't know if I don't know if the whole game is like that or not, or if it's just the beginning. I've literally only watched about the first 5 minutes of it because I don't want to. With the beta being the entire game and it carries over from the beta to your game, I don't want to know a whole lot of what's going on immediately. I would rather figure it out while I go and kind of be quote unquote surprised.
I think it'd be a cool game. I just don't think it'll be a Fallout game. In that, just in the way that it plays, it won't feel like a Fallout game. It'll be something kind of different. I mean, it'll still have that flavor and like UI and all of that for sure, because they're not going to get rid of it. But.
Right.
Unless by Fallout game they mean Fallout 4 and not Fallout 3, which most people would understand, or Fallout the other ones.
1 and
2.
They all have
Brotherhood
tactics or whatever,
Brotherhood of Steel or whatever it was called.
Yeah, like all the the isometric
DLC or something. I think.
Yeah. But I was like Fallout 3 was single player, collect items, make bottle caps, manage like faction relations, kind of. Fallout 4 seemed like it was more collect items to build bases. Also, there's story going on. So if yeah,
it was all the same thing as 3 with a few more things tacked on, but
with less story option. Yeah,
than 3 did.
And then they expounded on that with the DLCs, because it seemed like all the DLCs were like, oh look, we added a new area so that you can find blueprints to build more items. And like one of them was literally like, we made like monster fight pits for you, so you can like make your own monster fight pits. And it's like, if that's what they're gearing for with the next Fallout, if that's the quintessential Fallout, I think they're going to do a really good job with it, because they're like, okay, we saw what the DLCs did, we saw how well those reviewed, blah blah blah. But if it's about the big giant factions, and you like seeing, like, I wanted to pit the gladiators versus the Primus faction, whatever two factions happen to be in it, you're not going to get that,
right?
Unless I don't know. Just by the nature of the game, it's going to be very light on story. I think there'll be some there, but it won't be as involved as like a single player RPG.
Yeah.
Just because that's not what they're going for. So I don't know.
I don't know.
We shall see.
Yeah, we've got a couple weeks. Like I say, when the beta comes out, I'll be.
Hopefully, it will work, because Bethesda in their single player games aren't exactly bug free, and them trying to do something completely new to them. Hope it works.
Yeah, and I have heard that a lot of people have they don't know what build they're playing, but there's a lot of bugginess going on, and that
just that type of game anyway. Like,
it was always buggy.
Games with online. Well, no, just like outside of Fallout, like other games that are like survival games or something that are all big sandboxes with a bunch of systems interacting with each other. They're just prone to having, goofy bugs and stuff in there. But you're adding that little element of, hey, do the servers work? If not, our game doesn't work now, or does it?
Right.
Bethesda's trying to figure all of that out, because they just played a game like that before, right? So.
Yeah, everyone's hovering 6 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Moments away from death.
If it's just the goofy bugs like that, then that's fine. That'll get them plenty of attention and plenty of memes, and that'll be great. If it's bugs that make the game crash all the time and you can't connect to servers and can't play it, then that's not the kind of bugs you want.
Right. I don't know. We'll see. Like I say, as soon as that beta starts up, I'm going to hop on and play it, because I'm excited to see what it was. They had a stress test this weekend, but for 4 or 5 hours, but I didn't get in on
I'll be interested to see what you think of it, so looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, hopefully I'll have a lot of time to sit down and really,
I think it'd be fun if it's possible in the game for you to say, hey, I can see my house from here.
Yeah, that would be cool. Because you have your little base camp thing that you can set up, and the sad thing is no matter where they send me, to start out first, I'm not going there. I'm heading here. I'm turning this way to go here, because this is what I want to see. Because like the Mothman Museum here, they posted pictures the other day. I reposted them on Facebook. There's pictures of the Mothman Museum like downtown in the game, and it's like, okay, I want to know what else is downtown in the game. I don't care about anything else. I want to go see what's there. Then we'll go over there wherever I need to go. So I'll probably walk over here.
Then I'll play the game.
Yeah, I'll probably come over here and it'll be some high level area, and I'll probably get killed immediately. But you know what? It's all right. It's all worth it.
But it's interesting to think about, though, because that means that the creators and designers of the game said, "Hey, everybody, let's have a field trip." And at some point, they, as a group, some number of them came to your region and were like, let's study everything we can about this area to see what we can put into the game. Actually,
they did not.
What?
They have never come. None of the developers. They didn't send anybody out. They didn't come here. They did do some. They did a lot off of Google Earth and things like that. Nobody, as far as we know, nobody have ever come to anywhere here, other than when they came for the festival. That's the first time.
So what you're saying is Google Earth made it possible.
They did, but you just don't know.
It could be.
Like with, like, say, like this. If you've watched the No Clip documentary on it, there's someone talking about how they were taking pictures of the Capitol building in Washington D.C. for the game, and they're thinking, "Hey, I'm taking pictures of this because we're going to destroy it in the game."
Right.
And I don't want to tell this security people that, right?
Right.
So I'm sure, like, just for reference sake, Google Earth is like fine for a satellite view, but it's not as good for like in person. Look, I'm taking photos of things, so I know exactly what it looks like. Right.
I know when they had
terrible camera.
I know when they had the art or the video, behind the scenes video thing. They had a guy there, one of the developers, and he had a Mothman shirt on, and he actually had ordered it from the museum's website because they have everything for the museum virtually on there, and you could virtually look through the museum. So, I don't know though. I don't, if they ever came, I'm sure they probably came to some places like the Greenbrier and stuff like that, because they have it. I've seen pictures, videos of comparisons of the Greenbrier in the game and the real Greenbrier, and it's very, very close. So I'm saying, at the very least,
they have reference somehow. So even if they like, hey, someone's already taken tons of photos here, we'll buy them or whatever. Yeah. They have some sort of reference. Well, and then just like Googling it.
And the nice thing about the Capitol Dome here, it's just a miniature version of the Capitol building in Washington D.C. with a gold dome on it instead of a white. So it's like, we could really just take this and go
copy.
We have this model already. Let's just spruce it up a bit. There you go.
You don't have to do a whole lot to it. But anyway, the last thing that I wanted to touch on real quick that I found kind of interesting was how indie games are actually performing on Switch compared to other platforms. I had read an article earlier in the week about how some of the games, some of the indie developers are very surprised on how many games they are selling on Switch compared to even PC and PlayStation 4, which, PlayStation 4 has more consoles out there than Switch does, but they're still selling better on the Switch than they are on home consoles or even PC. And I like this post that I found that had this spreadsheet in there. You could look at like SteamWorld Dig sold 10 times as many, SteamWorld Dig 2 sold 10 times as many on Steam or on Switch as it did on Steam. Death Squadron sold more on Switch than on PC, PS4, Xbox One combined. And there was a lot of Stardew Valley sold 1 million on Switch. Hollow Knight sold 250,000 copies in a week.
There's a couple of reasons for this, I think. One, less competition on Switch despite the market on there being more and more full all the time. Two, most of the ones that are super successful on Switch already have a name for themselves of something from somewhere else where it's like, hey, this game exists, buy it on Switch now.
Right.
So either you have it somewhere else and you want to play it on Switch, or you've heard about it somehow and thought, oh, hey, that game was supposed to be good, I'll buy it on Switch.
Well,
and then also it's just like all the other platforms like PlayStation 4, Xbox, and PC, there's just way more of games of all sizes there, whereas the Switch, there's some bigger games from Nintendo, but even those, there's very few like big blockbuster games taking up all the space of your playtime, your attention, whatever. So you want something to play. There's just a lot of people on Switch looking for fun little games to play on it.
Yeah.
So that type of game, that style of game, what most of them are, just does well there because that's what people are looking for.
Well, and that's kind of what I wondered if maybe, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, those are more of a console, maybe the audience there are more blockbuster games, like,
for sure,
how like movies anymore, you don't go to movies, there are smaller indie movies out there, but most of your movie theaters only carry your big blockbuster movies these days. They don't carry your little indie movies and your little smaller movies.
They carry those too, but they only get like one screen.
Yeah, they only get one screen. Right. Is that maybe you could take that and go PS4, Switch,
Well, just look at it from this perspective of think back on the 360 and the PS3 and all of the kind of downloadable games that were there that got a lot of promotion and attention specifically from Sony and Microsoft actually putting them out there doing like Summer of Arcade or here's this cool weird looking game on the PlayStation that you might want to try out because there's nothing else like it, like Journey, things, you know, like that.
Yeah.
Versus now, that doesn't really happen. They're not paying for those types of games. So anything else is somebody specifically coming to that platform wanting to make something, and they're not getting as much of a push from the platform holders as they would have in previous generations.
Well, and do you think maybe that's a mistake on Microsoft?
Maybe
how they used to push that. That was a big driver on the 360 over the PlayStation 3. Not that I would say that would sell more consoles, but
perceptions, right? So the Nintendo Switch just has that much more of a reputation of that type of game is good in here. Once the first couple did well, it just kind of snowballed. Whereas the Xbox does not have that it doesn't have that feeling for like the people who own that platform. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for their big Microsoft things, whether that's Forza or Halo, or even if they're playing like their Call of Duties on there because that's the console they have. That's the type of game they're looking for versus, hey, this cute little indie game.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's just kind of like where it's most comfortable to play, right?
Yeah,
so for your Xbox and your PlayStation, they are much more capable consoles. They can provide those blockbuster experiences, and that's going to be on your big screen TV with your surround sound or however. But on your Switch, you got those bite-sized experiences on a bite-sized console. You can take it with you, and they're more fun for me, anyway, just me speaking, to play on the Switch than they are on my big screen. If I'm playing an old school style game, 16-bit, whatever, I want to play it on the Switch.
Man, you can play it on the big screen if you want to.
Yeah,
I could.
You're not losing anything by playing the Switch because they're going to look and play exactly the same, with a few exceptions. Like maybe this particular game has something in it that it hitches a little bit, but it's still completely playable. You can play it on your TV if you want, but you also have the added of playing it handheld that the other places don't have. That is definitely an add-on, but you're not, for the most part, none of these games are going to lose anything by going to Switch. Unlike, the big blockbuster games, you can't play them on Switch because it can't run them.
Right.
Or you might have something that could be on PlayStation 4 and on the Switch, but it's going to look a lot less on the Switch than it is elsewhere, with, little exception. But like, you can play something like Rocket League. You can play it on the Switch and it's good there, but you can see the difference between the two. But anything that's like pixel art based, it's going to look the same no matter where you play it.
Right. Yeah, it's like Wolverblade. That game is awesome, and I just cannot believe for the life of me that it's sold more on Switch than any other platform out there. I mean, all of them combined. Yeah, it was on PS4, PlayStation.
I didn't know that.
PC, PlayStation 4.
I thought that was just on Switch.
Nope, it was on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and the Switch has sold more than all those consoles combined.
That's because it can get way more attention there too. As all these things like combined together just makes Switch a really good platform for those kinds of games.
Yeah, and and that's what's kind of weird is because I mean, let's face it, the eShop is crappy. That thing is hard to navigate, and unless you catch something day one and add it to your wish list, then
which is why the games that exist elsewhere are ones that do really on Switch, is because you're not relying on the store to know it exists. You're like, hey, I've heard of Hollow Knight because it's on these other platforms too, and cite whatever that I know about, or this YouTuber is playing it and I've heard of it, so I will go looking for it. But yeah, like it's the same thing like with Steam. It's the opposite problem of like, hey, you can play all these things there, but there's so much there.
Yeah, that store is
like
huge. Even
more than like the Switch store is tiny by comparison. So
and your casual gamer doesn't play on PC. And
I mean, there are people who do, but yeah, for somebody who's just like, hey, I have my Nintendo, that's where I play games.
Yeah.
There's a ton of these things coming out that are, a lot of them are really, really good, and there's an audience for them. They're connected.
And I have found out on social media and other things that there's a lot of people out there that play games that play older games, retro games, that don't buy PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. But when Nintendo comes out with a console, they buy a Nintendo console. So, now all of a sudden it's like, well, I don't have a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, and I don't play on PC, but I can get these indie games that are on all those consoles here. And, they're not like me who has all three of them. But but now it's like, what's funny is I have all three of them and I play on PlayStation 4, dedicated to playing on PlayStation 4, to now I only play games that I can't play on the Switch on either PS4 or Xbox One, but I mostly play everything else on the Switch. Which if you'd have told me a year ago after that thing came out, or before that thing came out, that I would be exclusively on the Switch, I would have laughed in your face.
Well, I think there's also that audience you're talking about who likes the retro games or even just Nintendo type games, that they're going to only buy a Nintendo because that's the type of stuff they enjoy. There's a lot of crossover with a lot of the types of games that indie studios are making right now, with a lot of pixel art stuff or just the types of games themselves. They're like, hey, I might not have played this game, but I've definitely played a lot of this type of game before. Right. I'm interested in it. So that crossover with the audience has made games really sell well on the Switch.
Yeah. And TF God says, I think Xbox is doing the retro thing better than Nintendo at this point. Well, how? What do you mean retro? Are you meaning backwards compatibility? Then sure.
Yes.
Absolutely. But if you're meaning like retro games, I don't know. I don't know what you mean by retro games.
That's not what I think of first. When I think retro games, I don't mean Xbox.
No.
That's just me.
When I think of retro games, I immediately think of Game Gear or Genesis or
But if
that's not what I meant. But okay.
I know what you meant. I know that's not what you meant.
But if you're like 18, right? Retro games are PS2.
That's true. I mean, PS2, Xbox, Dreamcast is retro.
So, like, there's millions of people that have never touched NES, SNES, Sega Genesis, Dreamcast, like from that younger. So then, like, that forward is the line of retro for them. So if that's your perspective, then Xbox is crushing retro games. But if you're saying retro is in post Atari Commando not Commando, but like post Atari consoles pre PlayStation 1 days, then it's Switch is doing a lot better.
Yeah. Well, and the TFX.
I don't think there's a lot of actual retro games on the Switch. It's just that type of game, like the modern versions of those, is what indie studios for a large portion of them are making now. It's not a retro game, but like art style wise,
it's a retro style game.
Like Octopath Traveler.
Right.
Yeah. So look at this thing in the past that you like. We're making a new modern version of that type of.
I don't know, but there are a lot of retro games on the Switch. Of course, if you pay for the online, you get the NES games. They have
a few weeks ago for sure.
Yeah, they have the arcade classics that are Neo Geo, the Nintendo arcade games and stuff like that. You could buy those. Have been on there since eShop day one.
There's a few in them, but most of the ones that are there, you have to be really into some of
I mean a lot of those
it's
Neo
not like,
Geo
hey,
ones are
Super Mario World, I like that, I want to play that, that we don't have that
right
yet,
no but they have the Genesis Classic Collection coming out. The Sega Ages games have started rolling out. Thunder Force and Sonic the Hedgehog are on there now,
and a lot of that type of thing is elsewhere too, like Xbox or PlayStation has a lot of those similar type things. It's just not necessarily where everybody is going to go to first.
Exactly.
Like if you already have one of those and you don't have a Switch or something, then of course you're going to go there. Or even if you have a Switch and you just really like playing on your Xbox or PlayStation and you play with your friends on there all the time, but you want to play some of these other things, in the meantime, and then hey, they'll hit you up to play a multiplayer game. You just want to be available, then that might be where you'd play it for sure.
And the other
those things are everywhere because they're old. You can put them on a lot of different things, or ports of them on a lot of different things. And
well, and the other thing,
shotgun approach, right?
Right. Well, and the other thing too is the Switch is only 2 years old. So I mean, you're talking Xbox is what, 5 years now? Is it 6 years? How long has Xbox and PS4 been out now? 2013.
5 years. Yeah.
So,
3 decades now.
So I mean, they have.
But that's definitely another. Like, there's a lot of these things that have added up to make it just a really good place to sell those types of games right now on the Switch.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo has a lot of their big hits in there, but there's enough room in between all of that stuff where even if you want to play every single game Nintendo puts out, there's still plenty of room for playing all these other games that are just as good and some even better, I would say, than some of the Nintendo games.
And no, man, I want to touch on that xCloud thing that you put in the show notes that they announced that Microsoft announced this week. Because what's funny is I actually had a discussion on Twitter with Mike Mullins, who does the NLG podcast. Me and him was talking. He was very excited about the streaming games thing that Xbox announced, and I immediately went, I don't care. It's like, and he was like, oh no, this is awesome. I could lay in bed and play a game on my phone. I went, I could take a whole console and lay in bed on my phone and play right now and lay in bed and play with the Switch right now, and he's like, well, I don't have $300 to spend on a Switch. I said, but this 3 things with the xCloud thing. 1, it's not going to be free. I guarantee it. You're going to have to buy the games or it's going to be a service. 2, you're going to have a pretty new device for it to play on and work good, whether it's a newer iPad, a newer Kindle, something like that. 3, you're going to have a very good, strong Wi-Fi network for this to have 0 input lag. I've tested nearly all the streaming devices that they've had, the OnLive, the streaming games on the PlayStation Now.
So is this a thing that you're going out to the internet to pull it to Xbox games to a different device, or is this you have your Xbox and you're streaming it to?
No, you're not streaming it from an Xbox. You're streaming it from a server somewhere.
Okay.
They have it on a rack on a PC. They're rendering it and all that other stuff, and you're sending input and video output.
And I was like, well, I wasn't sure is that what one you're talking about because I haven't looked into this. Whether it was that where you're going to the internet like OnLive, etc. in the past has been. Or if this was, hey, I have an Xbox and I'm going to stream the content. It's going to run on my Xbox. I'm going to stream it to my phone because people use that verb or whatever in those 2 different contexts. So I wasn't sure which one you meant.
That would make more sense. My thing is,
well, that already somewhat exists. I think you can do that to PC
with your PC. I think, I think you
but
can do that
not your
PC.
phone,
not your phone or anything like that. I just don't see where this is. Unless they have some amazing technology that nobody else has said or shown or anything, I don't see how this is going to work real well. I just don't. There's too many variables.
Just as good as any of the other ones have to this point.
Right, and they were
better, but
they were okay.
Yeah,
they weren't anything to write home about. There is no way even laying in bed and playing a game for an hour I would do it. I just wouldn't. The Vita didn't even work real well in remote play mode unless you were very, very close to your PlayStation or you had a really, really good Wi-Fi connection. And if you had a Model 1 Vita, it didn't work as well as it did on the Model 2 Vita. And it even worked better if you had a Model 2 Vita and a PlayStation 4 Pro. But I know that's a different thing, but I mean, still.
And technology is a little better now than when the first Vitas and stuff.
And that's, I really wanted to try. I have a Japanese account on my Switch, and I really wanted to try Assassin's Creed Odyssey streaming from the Japanese side because you could play that on the Switch, but it's a cloud-based game. Yeah, it's a cloud-based game.
I didn't know that they were putting that on the Switch.
It's only in Japan. It's only in Japan. And what's cool is
that's really weird.
Yeah, it is. It's
It's
so
similar
weird.
to like their Resident Evil over there.
Well, it's that, and the Phantasy Star Online is the same way over there. You stream the entire game to it. The trouble is I need to get a VPN blocker because it immediately knows I'm not in Japan and it will not allow me to do it. It says, nope, you're not in Japan. You can't do it. You have to be in Japan. But what's cool is you could play the first 20 minutes of the game for free, and then if if it works good and you like it, then you can buy the whole game cloud-based. But I just wanted to play the 20 minutes just to try it out, just see what it looked. I went online and I watched some videos of it, and it looked like it worked pretty well. Still kind of fuzzy and not real clear, but
I'm gonna say that video probably makes it. Person doing it actually would I guess.
Yeah, I mean that's what I.
Because like any action game like that with lots of things going on is just gonna be really difficult to play streaming it.
Yeah, I know TF God says is xCloud supposedly partly hardware based, taking care of collision detection locally, but streaming the graphics, which will significantly cut down on input latency. To me, you're still gonna have to have. I can't imagine. I don't know anything about anything like that, but I can't imagine. I don't know.
Like it could cut down on it theoretically, sure, but you're still going to have some sort of latency no matter what because you are going outsourcing something outside and pulling. It has to your computer device, whatever streaming thing you're talking about, you have to communicate out and then have something come back, and that's way slower than just having something locally on the device you're using.
And I mean, your ping is going to have to be
part of it locally and part of it there, and it's just able to do slightly better graphics or something out there than what your device could. It doesn't matter. You're still introducing latency into the process.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I know you get latency, but I was kind of a switch doubter, and they're selling like hotcakes and just continue to sell like hotcakes. So it shows that people are willing to be convenient if it's for a slightly degraded conventional experience. So
that's
like
not even what it is.
We just disconnected.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what happened there. Sorry. I just put it back.
Okay.
Go ahead. You're fine.
So, I lost my train of thought there.
Sorry.
People want to be more convenient. So, I don't think if they can get it down to where your input lag is 300 milliseconds, that's going to be good enough for almost all games. Because that's still within the moment of time to where most people can react as fast as they can. So if that's the input lag,
convenience though, because it still requires like that, like playing it. That I get what you're saying, but the overall thing of is that more convenient than hey, I bought this game at the store and popped it into my machine.
Yeah, no. So then it's okay. They can stream it. If they're streaming it to your phone, you can now lay in bed and play Assassin's Creed. But if you're streaming
how are you playing that
TV,
on your phone though? That's like what are you doing with your phone to get in with that controls? Do you have to have your controller there in bed too and your phone? How does that work? That's
I have no idea. Now the pictures that I've seen have a controller, like an Xbox One controller, connected to your phone on a bracket. So you're playing with a real controller on your phone or tablet or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are certainly ways that you can like cobble stuff together to make it work, or if in the future somebody made like actual hardware specifically for that to make it work, sure. But right now, I just don't see it working for most people. It's not going to be a big, massive, like mass market product.
Well, and that's where I wonder if this xCloud thing, we've heard a lot of rumors that Microsoft is going to have a real home-based console and then a streaming version of it that's way cheaper that you just stream games to. I'm wondering if this is more that than
could be,
than necessarily. It just happens to be, you could use it on a tablet or you can use it on your phone, but really it's going to be for this console.
And it could wrap back around to what we were saying about indie games on the Switch, where it's, if you're already going to be doing something where, like, I have to have the highest visual fidelity, then you're probably not going to be doing it mobile anyways.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be having it on the Pro or the X or a PC. If you want the big budget game,
fidelity either, though, for streaming, it's how does it feel? And unless they absolutely nail it, anybody, even just a casual game player, would be like playing this. This doesn't feel right. I don't know why this doesn't feel right, maybe, but it doesn't feel right because I'm trying to do stuff and it's not responding to it. That's the problem they have to overcome. Nobody's done it yet. Maybe Microsoft will. That could be cool, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah,
we don't know anything about it yet.
Well, TF God thinks, I think streaming is for casuals who don't care about frame or two extra
if they have
latency.
only a frame or two extra of latency, that would be
would be
great. That'd be way better than anyone's ever done so far. I think
that would be awesome.
Somebody is going to nail this. I just don't think we're quite there yet.
It'll be interesting to see.
And it just requires so much to go right on all sides of, like, where the servers are, where you are, how fast your internet is, how many people are watching Netflix at the time, whatever. There's a lot of things that right now that could go wrong. Maybe in 5-10 years, for the most part of most markets, people everywhere, it might work better then. Maybe it never will. Who knows? No one's done it yet. That doesn't mean that they're not going to try, right? Because it's definitely something that if they could do a, quote, Netflix for games, where you could subscribe, play all the games, stream it to wherever you are, that could be a cool thing if somebody can, figure out how to do it well, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It seems like doing it first is often more important than doing it right the first time.
We've had on it first now.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's like, but the thing I really want to say was, I remember, what was it? But they were talking about using machine learning to improve game load times. And I think that is where they're not only optimizing hardware, they're not only optimizing software, they're optimizing the relationship between the two, which is a weird thing that hasn't had a whole lot of attention, to where they're like, well, not only are we loading up games faster just because we're spinning the disk faster or like have more bandwidth, we're saying, we know in this situation, this thing gets loaded at this time. So we're going to load it up half a second ahead of time and go ahead and load it to your device. Well, now it arrives on time when you press the button rather than when you would get it normally.
Yeah, it's all a bunch of stuff that's way over my head. And I don't have to figure that.
It's magic.
I can understand some of like the high level idea of it. When
the magic of big data.
Nope. Smarter people than me have to work on that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I think that was a very interesting discussion on that. And I meant to put something in there about the xCloud, and I totally forgot because. To me, and that was my point. It's like, well, if I've got to buy this, have better internet, pay that, I'm just going to buy a Switch and I'm going to lay in bed and go and I'll worry about it.
Maybe it'll be really, really cool, but we just don't. It's not out there.
I hope it is. Really, so. I hope it's really cool. I mean, to be able to do something like that. Yeah, to be able to do something like that's really cool. It's always, that's why I got the on live console, because I wanted to try that out. I wanted to see what that was like, and that's why I like the Vita, even though I wasn't streaming over the web, I was streaming from the PlayStation. I like that, it's cool that I could take it wherever I wanted to. That was when I was traveling on the road and I'd take my Vita with me and I'd be like, I'm going to turn my PlayStation on right now and play this game. And it would work, but the internet connection at the hotel would be so bad that it would drop connection, and then I'd be beep up. Yeah, Nikki, can you go turn the PlayStation 3 or 4 off? It's stuck on because I can't reconnect because the connection is so bad here in the hotel, and the PlayStation's going to be on for 4 days because I'm not going to be able to get home in time to turn it off. So I mean, but that's the thing. It's all going to, a lot of it's going to depend on connection. Just your speed. If your speed is not good, then it's not going to work. When I was living in North Carolina, I had fiber optic internet. Boy, I was getting 600-700 megabytes and my ping was under 10, and my upload was 60, and I was like, yeah, I can play. This is perfect. And then I moved here, and now I'm back down to 200 megs, and it's like, ooh, that's not as good as it used to be, because my internet's not as fast.
And it's still way better than a lot of people have.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's a sad thing. Yeah, I mean, but it'd be interesting to see that what Microsoft pulls off with it anyway. They could get on stage and show it all they want, but when it's in the real world, that's where I want to see it. I want to see it in my house running. Or my neighbor's house, or somebody else's house. All right, well, that's going to be it for this week's show. Look on the calendar here. I think I'm going to be in Florida the time that we would normally record the next show. So I don't know when we'll record again. We'll see. I think Danny and me are going to try to do a retro podcast next week, just because we haven't done one in a while. Between my work, his work, and a couple hurricanes, we just haven't really had a time to sit down and record something. So I'm not real sure exactly when we'll have another podcast. It'll at least be 2 weeks. It may be 3 weeks. We'll see. When I get back from our little vacation. But like I say, subscribe or follow us on wherever. We stream to Mixer, YouTube, and Twitch now, so all at the same time. So wherever your content of choice you want to get it from, and then you'll know exactly when we go live to check in. So yeah, other than that, I don't think I've got anything else. You guys got anything else that I'm forgetting, or?
I can't think of anything.
No.
Can't think of anything either. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll all catch you next time.